3, 2, 1. Hi, everybody. That was Shrank, and this is Sardonicast. I'm Adam from Your Movie Sucks. Hello.
I'm Ralph from Ralph the Movie Maker.
And I'm Alex, the #1 DreamWorks fan in the world. And so that was a nice little flashback to the past, the Shrek memes. Oh, hello there.
Oh, they never left for me.
Nostalgic times.
Shrek is life. When
was that at its peak? Was it sort of 2010 sort of time? I'm struggling to remember. It's just a blur of Shrek.
I think much later than that, honestly. I would say maybe like 2015. When did this fucking video get uploaded? This was 2015. 5 million viewed.
Not even that long ago.
3-second long video. Yeah, it's still kicking. We got Shrek Retold happened, and there's like Shrek 2 Retold coming out sometime soon, I guess.
Awesome.
Yeah. If anybody's confused about what that is, it's a bunch of people collaborated together, artists, animators, YouTubers, and basically took a few seconds each of the Shrek film and decided to do their own rendition of it, and then stitched it all together to make one flowing, crazy fever dream of a film. I would recommend it. It's very strange, and it's on YouTube, so no excuse not to.
Yeah, it's a bit like the RoboCop remake.
Oh,
sort of same concept.
I never watched that one, actually. Yeah, there's a movie called Shrek, and everybody loves him. He's an ogre. Spoilers for all the Shreks, every one of the Shreks.
The quadrilogy.
Shrek, he lives in a swamp, and the donkey came to the swamp because the Lord Farquaad is trying to make all the fairy tale creatures not cool. He doesn't like them or something. And then Shrek's like, I want to live in peace. And they're all like, no, you gotta let us move in with you. And he's like, no, I'm going to tell Lord Farquaad to stop so that I can live in peace. And then it kickstarts an adventure where he saves a princess, and there's some familiar tropes and references to fairy tale Disney properties. And my plan was to watch it in 4K, and I didn't because Amazon fucking sucks in Canada, I guess. And they allowed me to pre-order something that they didn't have stock of. And so I was screwed, even though I planned like months in advance. So if I had just ordered from the American Amazon, it would have taken longer to ship, theoretically, but like still would have gotten it in time, you assholes. Anyway, so I watched it in regular 1080p like a peasant. What did you think of Shrek?
Yeah, same.
Yeah, me too.
They're all on the UK Netflix, so I just streamed Shrek 1.
Oh, very nice.
I gotta say, I'm impressed by how well Shrek has aged. I kind of went through all the movies a few years ago, and I don't remember Shrek standing out particularly, but on this rewatch, I was really paying attention to everything that's going on. Shrek 1 is a joy, man. There's a lot of cleverness in there, a lot of genuine humor, a lot of funny stuff, and even the extra humor now of the meme, just the meme. There's so much meme to Shrek and everything. I think particularly in the first movie, there's a lot of added extra meme humor that adds to, like, it just makes it funnier overall. Mm-hmm. But just the spin on the Disney kind of tropey stuff you come to expect, but somehow managing to balance the comedy and also telling its own genuine fairy tale story that's pretty touching and does its own stuff. I think Shrek 1's really good overall. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Smash Mouth?
Somebody!
It's the most 2001 movie ever.
Yeah, the meme is overpowering, but...
Yeah. It embodies the time period perfectly.
Yeah.
And somehow doesn't age poorly. You know?
Well, it is a good movie. It's just there's a lot of very funny
charming
parts in it. Yeah.
It feels inspired.
Yeah.
You know? It's a problem as the series goes on. It was a unique idea, and it's kind of edgy, going against the grain.
I don't quite see like this deterioration. I feel like that's part of the meme too. I think they're all fine.
Really?
I think this first one is the best one, and Shrek 2 is really good. But yeah, there's a lot of cleverness, like you said. Like, it's a very clever concept. I think Shrek is a very likable character. He's a very likable character, as everyone is in it. Donkey and like you can't really like you're making a movie with those characters. How bad can it be? That's why I think all of them are quite good. Maybe the jokes might be consistent, but this movie has very strong parts and jokes in it. I think the part with the gingerbread man, where they're reciting the whole Muffin Man, do you know the Muffin Man? Like that's fucking hysterical. Like it's great.
That's genuinely
meme
really
or
funny.
not, like it's very clever. There's a lot to admire in it. That when I say like the meme is overpowering, it's like the internet ruins everything. It's like annoying almost, but the movie's really good. It's strong. It has strong jokes. And
it holds up.
No one can take away from that. Like, right? No one. Like, it's just good. It's got good characters. What'd you think of the characters, Adam? Like Donkey and all of the side characters.
The characters,
there are a lot.
I mean, they're all motivated to an extent.
Yeah, they're all inspired by like other things, like Pinocchio.
They're fun in a
but there's actually like a clever
sense.
spin on them. Yeah, that make them. It's a parody, but it's also very funny. Like it's not like obnoxious or annoying. Whenever the gingerbread man is in the movie, I actually enjoyed his character. Like he's in it just enough.
Yeah,
and
that could be overkill.
It's a great balance of characters and all that stuff.
Yeah, and you're right. It's all about the spin. Like Shrek is an ugly ogre instead of being the handsome Prince Charming, and instead of the noble steed, he's got a donkey, and so on and so forth with the princess, and Lord Farquaad being this tiny guy. It's with the concept, there's a lot you can do, and they do it.
It's got a bit more of an edge to it because of that concept than something like Pixar. So the jokes are more crass, fart jokes, and kind of dumb humor. Obviously, aged references. It's like references to The Matrix and Smash Mouth and that music, but it fits the movie. It makes the movie funny. It doesn't take itself seriously at all. And that's why I enjoyed watching them. They're very light. Like there's nothing not to enjoy about them.
It's written in a way where the kids are entertained no matter what, but there's plenty for adults to delve into and get more out of. Lots of wordplay, of course, and just lots of parodying of stuff you recognize, like that whole setting of Duloc being this kind of parody of Disneyland with the small world segment and everything. And I mentioned Farquaad. His whole design apparently was intended to sort of be a caricature of the head of Disney at the time, the CEO, because they were beefing and he hated Disney and stuff like that is really funny to me. And I think Lord Farquaad is the funniest character in Shrek 1.
He's the
me.
best villain, I think, in my opinion. The
I
fairy
think
godmother and Prince Charming are strong together.
They come
not
close.
so much Prince Charming on his own, but he's really funny. Yeah.
John Lithgow does a great performance for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a big fuck you Disney movie. I mean, it literally opens up with him reading a fairy tale and wiping his ass with it. Being like, oh, what a load of crap! By the way, Alex, what do you think about the usage of the Scottish accent in the film?
I have two thoughts about it. On one hand, I'm shocked by how reserved Mike Myers' performance is, considering the way he does the Scottish character in Austin Powers is so bastard. 150%. He's like screaming everything. But a lot of Shrek's delivery is kind of downplayed, and he whispers a lot of lines. He's got a soft voice. There's a tenderness there. I kind of like that he does that.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah, I can't say that the accent ever pulled me out of the movie. I mean, it kind of fits in line with the meme of it all, but it seems like he genuinely cares about the character, and he gives a shit about the performance, and it came through for me. The Scottish accent never bugged me. It adds a sort of warm nature to him.
Did you know that not only did this premiere at Cannes Film Festival, but it was in official competition, meaning it was eligible to win the Palme d'Or?
It should have.
Isn't that crazy?
You forget about how biting this would have been in 2001. Like, we're so used to this kind of edgier meta reference humor. But this was big. This really cemented DreamWorks in the animation field as a competitor to Pixar, because they were up against Monsters, Inc. this year. And I think they won the Oscar over Monsters, Inc. And I think I actually prefer Shrek over Monsters, Inc., which might be blasphemy, but I think that it's smarter to me.
Yeah,
it was up against
They're very
Monsters,
different.
Inc. And Jimmy Neutron Boy
they are
Genius.
wildly different. Yes,
Jimmy Neutron. Right, that was
and
a
the
big
Final
year.
Fantasy movie too came out that year. Spirits Within.
Yeah, sure.
It was also
I haven't seen that one.
It won Best Animated Feature, and it was also nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. Interestingly enough, yeah.
Oh, because it's based on a children's book.
Apparently,
did you guys ever read it growing up?
No.
Because it was one of my go-to children's books, and I have this. Yeah, no, I used to read Shrek growing up. So I actually went to the cinema like as one of those like comic book nerds. Like, this isn't like the book at all. Like as a little kid watching it. But, yeah, it's very different. It's obviously quite
they adapt the
Americanized
character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, directed by Andrew Adamson and Vicky Jensen. So interesting, man and a woman team.
Hey, Vicky,
it's great.
Yeah, the humor being like kind of edgy. It's really funny. Just like I think that almost comes out of DreamWorks being able to take a bit more risks because they weren't as like established, and also their brand isn't really as much of a personality as like Disney, right? It's the whole reason why Disney needs to like, you know, they created something like Touchstone Entertainment to sell their more mature films, and you know, they keep all these different subsidiaries because the name Disney needs to stay clean. Like now they're kind of releasing like PG-13 films or whatever, but at the time it was really just a big kind of like image thing.
Yeah.
Whereas DreamWorks didn't really have that, and so they're able to have some crude humor and get away with saying things like ass and damn, which is like,
ass
you know, it seems like really not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but like, I don't know, like for the time and given the fact that it is sort of marketing itself towards children, it was pretty cool. And I don't know, I think I can imagine like the breath of fresh air that must have given to a lot of parents who, you know, they take their kids to see movies and day after day it's just some annoying thing that they can't even connect to at all in any way whatsoever. They take their kids to see Shrek and all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're laughing at some parts too. Like there are some genuinely funny moments. So
I'm sure you know the original actor who's supposed to play Shrek, Chris Farley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He recorded most of his lines and then passed away. So they replaced him
I
with
watched
Mike
a clip
Myers.
of it.
Yeah.
Earlier on YouTube. It's quite strange. It would have been quite a different movie, I think.
Sure.
Because I think Mike Myers, when he came onto the project, he demanded that they rewrite the story, so it was his imprint instead of trying to live up to that performance that was already nearly completed. Cool. So, yeah, quite respectful.
Yeah, no idea what it would have been. Can only imagine. Also, yeah, I guess keep in mind that like Mike Myers was huge in the 2000s. Like this was right around the same time as Austin Powers too. This is like before his love guru downfall or whatever you want to call it.
That's a funny thing about the Shrek franchise is because you get into the 2010s by Shrek Forever After, and all of a sudden, Eddie Murphy's, your Cameron Diaz's, they're not in the same place in their career, so Shrek just stopped kind of connecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you notice how like Farquaad's logo kind of looks like the Facebook logo? It's obviously not intentional because Facebook wasn't a thing when the movie came out.
Yeah.
I always see it.
It's
just
funny.
This big blue F.
Whenever Farquaad was on screen, I was just more distracted by how many dick jokes they shove into that character. And his castle, they keep saying, but what's he compensated for? Yeah. There's that weird scene where, like, the mirror, he's like, hey, show me the princess. And he pulls the sheets up and looks at his dick. Weird, pervy stuff like that.
There's a lot of broad humor and jokes and parody. It's funny. It works for Shrek anyway. It's about establishing a different brand than Pixar, and it was very different.
Even though there's a lot of jokes, even though there's a lot of crude humor, there are also some really great character moments, like unironically too. You know, one of the most memorable parts of the movie for I think anybody that watches it is the ogres are like onions scene. You know, where it's like, okay, like this is it's not only like a little bit funny, but it's also like a really nice way to explore the characters' dynamics and relationships, and you know, one of them's like a little self-hating and the other one's a little optimistic and, you know, cares about him. It's a nice way to like establish that or solidify that, and it's just well written.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's reinforcing the kind of theme of everyone, not to judge,
Yeah.
by the, initial impressions. There's more going on underneath. Most of the Shrek films kind of play around with that idea to be true to yourself.
Right.
Oh yeah, the morbid moment with the 3 eggs that are left over after the bird explodes, and it just like does this slow fade into her cooking them on a rock.
That's very funny.
I love that part.
Yeah, like Disney, they wouldn't do that in a Disney movie, but
yeah,
it's not even that. They need to have breakfast, right? It's fucking 3 eggs. What are you gonna do?
yeah.
There's lots of stuff like that. Like when
Yeah,
Farquaad, he just gets straight up eaten by the dragon at the end. They
he
didn't
got
really try
hella
to hide
vored.
it. He's just bored. yeah, lots of vor.
Yeah, Donkey
love
and the
and-
dragon, like I don't know, being a couple.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not
It's a
only
whole
is there
thing they
vor
run with.
actually, but there's
It's so
like
funny. But I don't know how that
inflation
works.
as well.
Yeah.
Like inflating frogs and snakes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking weird looking. As a kid, that kind of freaked me out.
Yeah, some strange concepts in there.
Yeah. Not as bad as Wayne Knight's Space
Or the
Jam
bird that
inflation, though.
explodes when Fiona's like singing.
Yeah.
That whole sequence was kind of bizarre.
So weird, but it stands out, and that's a good thing,
Yeah.
The only thing I really don't like about this film is like, I feel like you can still have a story that doesn't involve the entire plot device, hanging on the thread of just characters miscommunicating, and like these like
Yeah.
awfully convenient moments where it's just like, if they just said one more word in their sentence throughout that whole 5-minute conversation or whatever, then they would perfectly understand and there wouldn't be a mix up. But it's like they're just leaving out the exact words, but they don't know that that's what they're doing, and it's like I don't love that, but otherwise
I totally agree. Toward the end of the second act, like there was a lot of that before the big finale in the church.
Yeah.
Like there's so much of like
I feel the same way.
miscommunication. Yeah.
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 It's just
you forgive it though because of the
it's kind of
the
frustrating.
comedy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of convenience.
And it's so
right?
brief. The pacing's so quick. It doesn't linger on anything. For too
Very
long.
quick
It moves
pacing.
along.
Every single one of these movies is like an hour and a half on the dot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like pretty close.
Only one of them feels it too to me.
With all the references, I think it doesn't age as well as Monsters Inc. Something like that. Monsters Inc. I think holds up more.
They're both good. I think that, I don't know,
They were
because like
both good.
I think that Shrek is more of a game changer in a way, I think Shrek, it has a bit more of like an impact in terms of like the overall landscape of films that was seen after, more so than Monsters Inc. Monsters Inc. is just another, Monsters Inc. is great, but like it didn't start a revolution
Absolutely.
of bad DreamWorks movies or anything.
Yeah, that there was competition in town, right? It put DreamWorks on the map. You're absolutely right. And it's definitely the strongest, I think, out of this bunch of Shark Tale and other DreamWorks movies. I think How to Train Your Dragon's really good.
Yeah, because the previous CG movie they made was Ants, that Woody Allen.
I don't like that movie. It's not good.
I've never seen it.
It has been a long time, but that I should have put that in my childhood trauma video because there's some pretty intense stuff in that movie talking about like adult edgy stuff. But yeah, it wasn't until Shrek till they really managed to bring it home because they were still releasing their 2D movies around this time as well, like El Dorado, but they just weren't making money. And Shrek.
Yeah.
El Dorado, I like.
I love Road to El Dorado in my memory. I haven't seen it in so long.
Yeah, I
fucking
like
love
their
that movie,
2D
actually.
work a lot, but general audiences didn't.
Because they're dumb. People are
Yeah, because
stupid.
it's not cool CG epic. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of the animation, it's like it mostly holds up. There's some parts where it could be a bit smoother, if that makes sense. Like the keyframes are a bit too noticeable. It's kind of janky movement from one pose to the next and the computer interpreting what's in between sort of thing. Textures could be a bit better, but honestly, like never at any point does it ruin the movie. It's just like slightly noticeable. Still looks really good. It doesn't It's not like the human characters in Toy Story 1. And what's interesting is like this movie was released in 2001 and Toy Story 1 was what, 97 or something? What year was that? Like it's not that far off.
I'll
94.
double-check.
Toy Story that far
Was it
back? Am I that
94?
stupid?
Yeah, man.
Damn
I
it, it's
think it's older than you
95.
think.
Shit. I always think it's much later than it is.
95.
Never mind. Toy Story is 95. So then Toy Story
Mhm.
2
That was 99.
is 99. Okay. Yeah. All right. The timeline seems to make a bit more sense
It
now.
shows you how far the technology went at that point. But yeah, there's like, I think Fiona looks really. Yeah, the animation of Fiona is really good when she's just a human.
Mhm.
You're totally right. Like the animation,
Really good
of just
hair
the
and
people.
fabric,
Mhm.
Yeah,
kind of textures and stuff.
definitely.
Yeah.
And I think it gets better with each movie. The animation. The fourth
I
one. No.
disagree, but we'll get into that when
Sure.
when we get it.
Well, it's the
Oh.
lighting and the storyboarding and the composition of everything in the first movie that holds up. Because you're right, I was really shocked by how great the movie still looks
Mhm.
from 2001. Because there is that line in those early 2000 movies where they just suddenly started becoming so good that they're just not even aging anymore. I always
Mhm.
consider that around the sort of Wall-E time, where it's like we're just beyond now. But it is that awkward era. But even considering that, the story and the comedy comes forward through it, and yeah, it's not distracting to me. It's
Yeah.
really not. It's really aged quite well, even despite like having like Matrix action sequences that go on for ages and stuff. It does work. It fits in the tone.
Yeah, definitely it does.
Yeah. Lots of songs. It's a big playlist movie, and it kind of works, you know?
And I saw her face.
Yeah, and it's a really good ending song, and whatever, they're fucking
Yeah.
singing and dancing
Yeah,
at the
big
end, and it's
dance number.
happy. And
Well, it's like one of those few animated movies where I like the dance number at the end.
yeah, did Shrek kind of like popularize that or what? I think it might
I think
have.
it did. I feel like that's
It
the first big
popularized
one.
it, but I think Toy Story 2 was the first one that really set
Oh,
it
did they do
going.
that in Toy
Yeah,
Story
with
2?
that penguin singing
Yeah.
at the end. Yeah.
Who was
And
singing?
every animated
I
movie
don't
started
remember.
copying it. That penguin
Penguin.
in Toy Story
I
2, Wheezy or
believe.
something? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we see.
I don't remember what song you
Yeah.
I
I want to say
believe.
that's the one that sort of got that trend going, but I think Shrek popularized it in a way that made it an obnoxious trend.
Yeah.
It's like such a staple of bad animated films now.
Yeah. Very contagious energy at the end.
Again,
Especially.
the meme, the internet ruining it, the, re-uploading Shrek like on YouTube with the
Oh,
Shrek
man.
theme and like that like ruined it.
I played the whole movie in Beat Saber. Somebody mapped it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
watched
that's
that.
right. You
I
could do
watched
that.
that.
I think I tried doing that, but I wanted to 5 minutes in. I wanted to stop. I'm like, why am I
Oh,
doing
it was
this to
very
myself?
Yeah,
difficult.
that's some endurance.
I was proud
is
that
an
I was able to do it.
endurance.
It actually got really hard right at the end, like an hour and a half into it. I was like, I believe. It was like, whoa, this fast shit coming out
Yeah,
of
that's where
nowhere.
it gets
Like,
too far.
I almost goofed up
Yeah.
at the end. That was terrifying.
At
But
the very end.
oh yeah, it would have sucked.
Yeah.
And that was definitely there just to piss you off. But I made it on my first try. Very proud of myself.
Fuck. Ridiculous.
Yeah, awesome movie. And I guess let's
Yeah.
start talking about Shrek 2. What would we give Shrek 1 out of 10? What would we give it?
4 out of 5.
I'm with you, man. 4 out of 5. Really solid, funny stuff.
All right, I'm going to get so much hate. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Great movie.
Okay.
Oh no.
I gave the second one that, but I changed it.
Okay.
Okay, Shrek 2.
Shrek 2.
Who wants to describe the film? You better make yourself known right now because the other
I'll do
person has
two.
to describe
I'll
the
do
plot
I'll
of
do
Shrek
3.
3.
I'll do 3.
You want to do it? Okay,
I'll do
I can do
3.
2. I'll do 2 if you want. So Shrek 2 is the 2004 sequel follow-up, if you didn't guess by the name. That follows the continued antics of Shrek. This time it's sort of zoning in on Fiona's parents and Shrek's conflict with the royal family. So it's kind of Shrek going out of his comfort zone yet again, trying to learn what he needs to give up in order to blend in with this wacky family, and antics ensue involving a fairy godmother and trying to get other people married to Fiona. And yeah, it's I don't know. It's kind of the debate: is Shrek 2 better than Shrek 1? And in this rewatch,
It's a big debate.
I might be leaning towards Shrek 2 being slightly better. I think it has more going on. I think it has more characters, more memorable moments. I think the joke writing's actually better too overall. But I do have to give props to that first movie for kind of coming up with the formula and the creativity of that.
It's a strong sequel for sure.
Mhm.
Very strong sequel.
Almost
Lots
too
of good
good. Like it
jokes.
almost it doesn't have the right to be as good as it is, considering like overall what the Shrek movies are.
Considering
like,
it's Shrek 2. Like even Shrek isn't like even Shrek doesn't deserve to be as good as it is, you know? And
yeah,
Shrek
exactly.
2 is
So
like
the fact they managed to do it again.
Yeah, they did it again, right?
Yeah.
It's the same concept, you know, heightened the parody of the fairy godmother and the whole Hollywood kind of parody. I guess that's what it is, right? There's like a Starbucks coffee. It's like a parody of
there's a
that.
bunch of...
It's like far, far away instead of Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah. It's just perfect. It's very funny. Where do you take it next?
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. It's a great sequel. I don't know what else to say.
I would say that the jokes are really, really strong in this movie. There were maybe even more than the first film parts that I actually laughed. You know, there are some genuinely funny parts. Lots of great little, you know, tiny references or details. Like at the beginning, the big bad wolf is eating like pork rinds. You know, it's just kind of like a subtle sort of thing. And yeah, not every joke landed. I would say overall the jokes were better. The most aged joke one was the ugly stepsister bit, where ugly was just masculine traits and that was it. And there was nothing else, you know, there was nothing ugly about her other than having some masculine traits. And I was like, that's maybe, that feels pretty early 2000s, I guess, you know. But.
Yeah, sure.
I wasn't this confident about where it stood in my ranking until, I guess, just watching them back to back recently. But yeah, I don't feel like this one is as strong as the first film for me, despite me loving a lot of the humor. I just feel like structure-wise and character-wise, it doesn't work as well. I like Farquaad a lot more than I like Prince Charming and what's her name? I don't remember. Fairy Godmother? Oh yeah,
Fairy Godmother.
The stained glass above her door in one scene says FGM. That's how I remember. For those of you, I'm not even going to explain that one. Don't look it up. Anyway.
Okay.
I don't think that Puss in Boots is a great character. I know a lot of people love Puss in Boots. I know it would be expected if I did, because I guess I'm a furry or something. I don't know, but I don't think he's a great character.
I really don't. I think Puss in Boots is really good in this, and a good thing about him is he's not overused either. He's in the movie just enough to where you like him. I guess because they knew they wanted audiences to like him, so they could make a ton of movies with him. And they did. They made Puss in Boots the movie, which I guess we'll talk about. But I think he's funny in this. His stare is a good joke. The cops parody is probably my favorite part of the movie. Like that whole sequence is really funny. That's fucking hysterical. That whole part.
That has me
shouting
so
police
much.
brutality. It's fucking. That's awesome. It's so funny.
And that's no mine catnip thing,
again,
dude.
the humor is much more out there than a Disney film would be. But I think it is funny. Like I wouldn't take it that seriously.
I'm just not into the Puss in Boots jokes mostly, because most of them are just like, oh, he's a cat. And it's like, yeah, he is a cat. You know, it's like the jokes are less surprising and more just expectations. And I was never a big fan of the like, oh, his eyes are so cute. And that's like a replacement for a joke, which is why I also don't like How to Train Your Dragon, is because the whole movie is just that. It's like, oh, the dragon acts like a dog. He's so cute. Like that's the whole fucking movie. And it's really annoying. So I don't know.
Okay.
That's Puss in Boots just reminds me too much of that like lazy writing. It's just, it feels lazy to me.
Antonio Banderas, I think he's good.
There's nothing wrong with him, but I don't know.
His performance combined with the fun the animators are clearly having with that character.
Mm-hmm. That much is clear, yeah.
They needed a new character, right?
Did they, though?
I think they did.
I think they did.
I think they went out there like, yeah, let's make a new character. And the one they came up with was fucking great.
So you said you didn't enjoy the structure as much in the second one, but I think it's the structure of the second one that makes me prefer it. There's a lot more going on to me. The dynamic between the family combined with him, he like hires Puss in Boots as an assassin, and at the same time there's the reveal, like hidden till later on, about the king actually being the frog prince, which is such a funny concept to me. Like doubling down on the fairy tale motif and just exploring every possible joke they can that you think they exhausted in the first movie. But I just feel like the dynamics are way more enjoyable, and especially the way it comes together at the end. I much prefer the climax of Shrek 2 feels much more elaborate, grander scale. Things wrap up really quickly in Shrek 1. And the action of that movie, I kind of... It's more isolated to that dragon set piece in my mind, whereas Shrek 2, it kind of flows better to me, comes together at the end
they did kind of...
much more satisfying way.
They did kind of rearrange where I guess the equivalent moments would be. You know, the dragon scene in the first one does feel familiar to the climax of the second film. Like, it does. It is a more memorable climax, I'll give you that for sure. But in terms of, like, the structure of the whole second film, it's like, I feel like because there's so much going on, like, yeah, there's a lot of great set pieces for the jokes, for sure, and I love that family dinner scene. That's, like, one of the funniest things.
Yeah.
But I just feel like in terms of, like, a story, if I'm imagining what each of the motivations are for the characters and why everyone's doing a certain thing, why anyone's in one place at one moment, I just feel like it's much less strongly communicated, or it feels less strong than the first film, you know? If I'm trying to like retrace the plot, it just doesn't feel like as strong of like a thread to me. I don't know. Yeah,
it's fairly similar sort of character beats for Shrek or mostly Shrek, to be honest. It's about him discovering himself, trying to sacrifice something for Fiona in the same way she sacrificed for him, sort of thing. Yeah. And it involves like body swapping coming in, and to me that's one of the things I like least, is just when body swapping kind of tropes start coming in, and it. But again, it's so quick. It just comes and goes in this movie. It's just like fire. It just burns so quick. I mean, it's not what I'm focusing on with the movie. It's the jokes. I always think about the sequence where they pretend to be like union guys that come in to check on the facility making the potions, and that whole sequence. There's a lot of just great humor in the movie. And to me, that is what carries the franchise, or at least the first half of the franchise, is that comedic writing. I can forgive a lot of dumb shit about the basic romance stuff that's going on. Just that humor and the cleverness and the way they're able to spin these concepts, these fairy tale trite stories, and spin them in ways that are funny.
It's mostly about the gags.
Reference pop culture. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm laughing pretty regularly in Shrek 1 and 2, especially 2.
Sure, yeah. Him wearing ladies' underwear, Pinocchio, like that was funny.
And the references to movies, I feel, is a bit more subtle than in the first one. I mean, it's clearly really obvious what they're going for, but again, they're so quick with it, and like they sneak them into sort of montages, like at the beginning with the Lord of the Rings reference, the Spider-Man kiss, kind of obvious imagery.
That scene's like Mission Impossible.
Oh yeah. Is this the one with Mission Impossible? Was that 3?
No, it was in 2.
Or 2?
Yeah,
it was in 2. Yeah, I get them confused also, but I double checked.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, you're right.
But there's so many gags, and I think all of them have their moments.
More great music.
Yeah, more great music for sure.
A very, very suitable playlist.
Yeah, we didn't mention the original score.
Oh yeah, great score.
Yeah,
what do you think of it?
Yeah,
I think it's almost underused.
Yeah, I wouldn't even. I don't know. Memorable. I think it was used just the right amount because it's memorable for sure. Like it doesn't like leave your head or anything. Like it's not like you didn't know it was there. It's a very strong composition. It's got like a few different kind of like renditions in a way, like in terms of how they use it. But yeah, it's like I don't know. Yeah, it's a very strong main theme.
Yeah, in the first movie, they do like an accordion version in that Robin Hood fight.
Yeah.
It's really, really fun. Yeah. I guess it just annoys me when with this soundtrack that does just play like the radio every now and again, if there's a song that doesn't click. And I just think, the original score is so good. I wish they knew that they had the option to lean into that sometimes.
Those are kind of the dated parts. Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
But it works so well. But it's like it's as much a part of the movie as the actual
It is funny,
stories.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's my nostalgia too.
Yeah.
Can't stop coming and they won't stop
And it's
coming.
also a fucking great song. There's a reason why that song is memed to shit. It's like one of the catchiest things ever made. It's like no one's gotten sick of that somehow.
Yeah, it's iconic.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's one of the best songs ever.
Is that all? I guess I really have nothing else to say about Shrek 2. It's got strong jokes. It's a funny movie.
Improved animation for sure. I would say a dramatic improvement.
Yeah, it's immediately recognizable.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
The individual hairs and
It's
polygons
later.
and textures and
Mm-hmm.
keyframes are
Definitely.
much smoother. But yeah, gigantic leap in the animation, in my opinion. Very noticeable.
I like Fiona's parents.
John Cleese.
I like the reveal that he's a
Oh
frog.
yeah, the voice actors. Jennifer
Yeah.
Saunders as fairy godmother. I think she's
Yeah,
really good in
very
Shrek 2.
good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was good. I just don't... She doesn't strike me the same way that Farquaad did. And Prince Charming
She's
is
not
like
as
one of the
funny
most
as
boring
Farquaad.
characters ever. I hate Prince Charming.
Uh-huh.
I really don't like that character at all. But yeah, she has her
I
moments.
think he's only okay in Shrek 2. He's only okay in Shrek 2
Yeah.
because of just the way he relates to the story.
Yeah.
He's strong
He's
with
not in
the
it very
fairy
much.
godmother. In the third one, they kind of put
Yeah.
him off on his own, and that might be one of the weakest parts of it.
We'll talk about that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I've said pretty much all I need to say about this. I liked the alien reference. That was hilarious. That was my favorite Puss in Boots moment.
Yeah, that was funny.
Fucking chest burster.
Yeah, see, that's a Puss in Boots moment.
Yeah, but it wasn't because of his
That was funny.
character.
Puss in
That
Boots,
was like
he's got his Indiana Jones reference as well with his hat.
I don't even like that
Puss in
Indiana
Boots is
Jones
great.
reference because it's the everybody's done it a billion times. You know?
It makes sense in Shrek though. It's the one time.
Aw.
Yeah.
Don't hate on Puss in Boots.
No, I don't understand
Aw.
why I like Puss in Boots as much as I do because it is. I don't know. It should
you've
be
got
like the joke
toxoplasmosis.
that annoys me the most. Yeah, I'm not even like a cat person or anything, but something about Puss in Boots just
Because it's
tickles
cute
me,
and it
man.
has big eyes. And it's
No, it's more than that. The way they use him in the funny, like the first time he comes in and whips his sword out, and Donkey's like, he screams, he's got a piece. Like, there's some funny shit in
He
this film.
fucks Shrek up. He like beats the shit out of Shrek.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I don't know because like I think there's a bit of a difference between like how you use a character versus like what the character is. You know, like the ways he's used isn't terrible in this film. I guess like the core attributes of the character, it's just like okay, it's just Antonio Banderas, and he's basically Zorro or whatever, and there's Spanish guitar that plays whenever he's on screen, and what is there more to him other than that? He's like I can do anything magical, you know, backflip, whatever kitty, and he does the manipulative, cute eyes, and then that's it. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if he's supposed to be deep particularly. He's just sort of a throwaway. You know, he's handy in scenes where they need like something acrobatic who can climb
Sure.
and stuff like that.
I don't think that he needs to be deep either. I just don't. I don't feel strongly about him in terms of. I don't find any of the moments that funny when they're relating to like just him. I find that overall he's a useless character. Doesn't really add much to the film, but that's fine if we disagree. I know that everybody in the comments section will disagree, so that's fine. And I'm giving this movie a 6 out of 10.
I'll go
Damn.
4 out of 5 again. Just like Shrek
Yeah.
1.
I'm almost a 9 on Shrek 2. I find it that enjoyable. But I'm
Whoa.
going to settle on a 4. Yeah, I don't know what it is about this
Don't
one,
let
man.
us hold
I was
you
laughing
back.
so consistently.
You want to give it a 9?
No, but it's not...
Fucking go for
I
it.
don't... The thing is, my gut tells me to give it a 9, but then I think about like the Hawaii Five-0 trumpet, you know, just some of the references that don't click with me. You know, that it's just going... It's that DreamWorks that I don't want to see. Just the early stages of that DreamWorks that I don't like coming in. That we're about seeing full force with the sequel, but yeah, 4 star.
Yeah. Okay, sick.
All right, Ralph, you ready to describe the plot of Shrek the Third?
Shrek the
Your
Third.
turn.
Well, Shrek's looking for an heir because he doesn't want to be king. Fiona's father passed away, the frog guy. So he looks for King Arthur. And King Arthur's like a kid who's like insecure or whatever, bullied at school or something. I don't even know. It's boring. It's very boring plot. I don't like the character of King Arthur. There's still some gags in there I think are strong. The character of Shrek is still funny. Well, yeah, like when he throws the bottle at the boat and it sinks. That's like toward the beginning.
I did
think that's
laugh
a
at
funny
that.
gag. Yeah.
Yeah.
The characters are still good. Like I still like Donkey, Shrek, and Fiona, and Gingy, and Puss in Boots is there again.
Mhm.
It's mainly King Arthur I found like kind of an annoying addition. and like the whole
He was
theme of
horrendous.
the movie, like his whole point, like, be yourself or whatever, stand up to, I don't even know what he was trying to say, but it's too forced, like it wasn't subtle. It was just like force feeding you the message at the end of the movie. And that stuff I didn't enjoy because it takes itself a bit too seriously. I prefer when it was just dumb gags or if there's a little more heart to it. And I don't know, it just felt too forced. There's still moments in there I thought were funny, like I mentioned, and his dream sequence with the babies. The like that was kind of disturbing and funny. That's it though. I don't hate the movie. I don't think it's kind of reviled, and I think that's a meme.
Movie. I genuinely hate the movie.
I think it's bad. Yeah,
it's not good for sure.
I didn't laugh a single time. I wish I could have.
I laughed at it, I think, a couple of times, but the way he introduced Puss in Boots by saying, and Puss in Boots is back, it's kind of the way I feel about like the whole movie for the whole cast. Yeah, the Shrek cast is back. They're there because they have to be there and they got to make another one. That feels like they're trying to capture what 1 and 2 were going for and just missing the mark completely.
It felt like it was made by people who didn't work on the first 2 films.
Sure. It feels like the crew of Madagascar trying to make Shrek.
It felt like 343 trying to make Halo,
Yeah.
It's like, I can see why you thought that was something that should be there. I can see why you thought that this was a core element of why this was successful, but this is wrong.
The scenes with like the princesses when they were captured, Fiona and her mom, like that was unnecessary, not funny.
Oh my god!
Dumb gags.
It's like over-explaining the cleverness from the first 2 movies of what they were doing with the princess characters.
I think the highest critical score on Metacritic was like, I don't know, it was like 80 or something from one reviewer. And if you look on like the IMDb version of the Metacritic scores, it shows the little blurb instead of the whole review, and the blurb was like, I loved the girl boss sequence or like the girl boss team, and that was like the whole thing. I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's like some fucking moron.
Is that what that was? Is that why that was there? Like, I don't fucking know.
He's got some kind of issue.
Yeah.
That's not a good scene.
This is a political movie.
It's unnecessary.
Okay. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even notice.
That's funny.
I didn't even notice King Arthur was played by Justin Timberlake until the end credits. I was like, holy shit.
You?
Yeah. Because like it was just so bad, and I don't know how.
Another like Social Network reference.
Yeah,
Lord Farquaad.
I don't think Justin Timberlake's a great actor, but most of the movies I've seen him in have been like not bad. Like he's not usually, but in the ones I've seen him in, he's like worked with some good directors.
Yeah,
I just avoid the ones where he doesn't, I guess. But I guess I watched Shrek the Third, and I was forced to listen to the most annoying voice acting somehow.
Did he sing in the movie? I don't
even think so. No,
he should have.
Yeah, he should have sang all his
Justin
lines.
Timberlake, and he's not going to sing. Like that's kind of a letdown, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every single thing in this fucking movie felt so unjustified and undeserved.
Yeah,
every single plot beat, every single moment, every single joke. Like nothing felt genuine. Nothing felt like. At any given point in the movie, you could ask, like, okay, why is this character doing this? And it would always, you'd have to think about it. There wouldn't be, like, an obvious answer. You'd be like, oh, because, oh, yeah, they're doing, like, I don't know if that was your experience. Maybe I was just so bored out of my fucking mind that I just wasn't paying attention properly.
Yeah,
but
I had a lot of that.
Yeah.
It's not as good as the first 2, for sure.
Yeah. It's not as clear at all.
No.
The comedic writing is just so bad in comparison.
Right. It is bad.
There's a lot of reliance on sort of random XD kind of humor, like donkeys screaming about like Worcestershire sauce and how it's spicy, Shrek saying like, you made a funny. Weird dialogue and stuff like that has aged it, and it just doesn't fit. Because before, like, even when Donkey is being random XD and singing songs, at least the songs related to his mood or emotion or something like that. It was relevant in some way. But here, half the stuff they're saying is just trying to just be subversive for subversive's sake. It's got like no goals. Like I was thinking about the movie's kind of stops parodying fairy tales for a big chunk of it, and it just becomes parodying like American high school in like a Renaissance
yeah, that was
setting.
annoying.
Shit. becomes like
Awful
Degrassi,
sequence.
Really
fucking
annoying.
bad.
It's like
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons nerds or whatever.
Yeah, I don't get what they were trying to do with that, because every Shrek movie has, and this is including Forever After, to me, has a clear kind of visual palette of locations and memorable sequences. 3 really doesn't have that to me. The whole climax sucks, that school section sucks, the stuff with the princesses all sucks. There's nothing really of note about the movie. Oh, the Merlin stuff? I can't stand that character. And
Which one was that?
bringing
Yeah,
back
it's
the Merlin guy, the wizard guy. Voiced
yeah.
by the
Was that Eric Idle
Just
or something?
another random thing going on. Prince Charming.
Yeah,
His
bringing another
characters-
Monty Python member in,
Yeah.
and totally misusing him.
It was just boring.
I
It's
can't
so
stand that
unmemorable.
character.
And like,
Yeah.
I don't understand half the shit that was going on because it didn't communicate it very well, and I just didn't care. And there's so many movies where it's like, if I'm a little bit confused about something, let's say we're watching a film for the podcast, like Shrek or whatever. Sometimes if I feel like I missed something, maybe I'll like take a little visit to the Wikipedia and go to the plot summary and make sure I don't spoil anything ahead of it, and just be like, oh, okay, just making that clear. Okay, yeah, this is the character mode. Okay, whatever. I didn't even feel like doing that with this movie because I'm just like, it's too much effort. You know, I can't even go to the Wikipedia page. Like, what is this
Yeah,
nonsense?
Who gives a shit?
I really just, it's so annoying.
There's emotional beats in this movie I don't think are as strong as the first two.
What emotional
well,
beats?
so-
Fiona's mom or Fiona's dad dies, I guess,
Yeah.
early in the movie. The frog. That scene it felt almost like it was supposed to be funny, but it also wasn't. It also was supposed to be kind of sad. And it's just like,
Yeah,
what is this?
very
Like, it's
conflicting.
just-
Yeah, and they played Live and Let Die, that weird cover.
Yeah,
Wrong
live and
time.
let die.
And then, in the fourth movie, there's a flashback and he's just back. Like, if you needed the
yeah.
character again, why did you even kill him? Like, it's just dumb. And, I like that character. You could've done
The
more
live and
with
let
him.
die sequence feels like something that could have worked at a different point in the movie, and if they didn't like treat his death like a whole big fucking joke, right? So like you have this montage
Right.
of like pretty good music too, like live and let die. It's like it's not a bad song at all. Like there's some emotional resonance to that,
sure.
and you have like each of these shots of all these characters, Shrek, family of the dead, Fiona, whatever. They all do this like single tear turn away from the camera, sad, and it's like, okay, there's something there, but it doesn't work when literally just fucking 30 seconds ago, you had the dad character like pretend to die and then be back and then pretend to die again. It's like, gotcha. Oh, I'm not really dead, but now I am. And it's like, okay, you're treating the whole thing like a fucking joke, like this doesn't matter. And then you're implying that there is some emotional resonance to this. So like, which is it? It's so conflicting. You didn't think about this shit. You just threw it together. It's just nonsense. It doesn't feel justified or earned.
That felt like they were softening the blow. Like, they were softening the blow of that death for kids. Like, oh, the
blow?
audience for this movie wouldn't be able to like handle the frog's death, so they have to like throw a
They
dumb
don't do
joke
the
in
sad
there.
funeral shots.
Yeah, exactly. And then
Yeah, if it's a joke, it's
it
a
just
joke.
makes that whole sequence kind of like a cringe moment because
Yeah.
you're not. Is it supposed to be funny, or am I supposed to be really sad that this character's dead? Because like the movie doesn't even know. I don't
Yeah,
think.
exactly. Too many
It
conflicting
is kind
ideas
of a mess. Yeah,
and tones.
some funny gags in there still, but
You said in Shrek 1 that the kind of drama where they inevitably have to lie and miscommunicate annoyed you in that movie.
Yeah.
How did it make you feel in this one, where there's that whole beat where Shrek, he lies to Justin Timberlake's character in front of like guards to protect him.
Mm.
So Justin Timberlake thinks he's been betrayed, but then later Donkey and Puss explain that he was lying to protect him, and so then he forgives
that
him.
was
The whole
was
like
terrible.
father-son thing they were trying to get across with that totally misses, in my opinion.
Completely. It doesn't work
so
at all.
lazy.
And also remember that like the whole like isn't this whole movie supposed to be also like Shrek coming to terms with the baby thing? Like, should I be a dad? And it's like, how much of that is really is that what they're trying to do with the King Arthur character, even though
It's
he's
the
not
Eraserhead of Shrek movies.
sure, yeah. It's just it doesn't fit. It just none of the ideas gel together. They don't feel like logical conclusions from one to the next. It just feels like half of the scenes in the movie, most of the scenes in the movie, could have been placed into the film at different points. You could have taken scenes from 3/4 through the movie and put them near the beginning, and it wouldn't have felt any different. Because nothing flows.
It feels straight to DVD quality to me. There's such a huge jump downwards.
It feels straight to the
compared to the first two.
garbage.
Yeah, straight to the garbage.
It's pretty bad.
It does match Madagascar 1 at times in terms of like how bad it gets.
Right. The writing's just lazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the bare minimum of like, oh, it's just a family movie. Who cares? Shrek 3.
Yeah, there's the dream sequence with the babies, and that's like so obvious that the dream sequence is going to happen when it's like, okay, if you're like 4 years old, you don't know it's a dream sequence already. So it's like, okay, this movie is just exclusively for children now, even though the other ones weren't. And then the dream sequence happens, and it's like, okay, some of this is correlating with his internal fears of like having children. And it's like, oh no, the kids are ruining everything and so much responsibility. And then they just go one step further. They're like, why don't we put this in it, even though it doesn't work? And it's like, oh, he's graduating and he's naked in front of the baby, isn't it? Like, why was that at the end? That has nothing to do with any of his like internal fears. Why is that there?
Yeah,
is that a
is
gag?
he afraid of high school?
Yeah, like it doesn't fit at all. Like it's just why the fuck was that? It wasn't funny. Who decided to put that? You could have ended the sequence earlier. It would have worked better.
Yeah. And Shrek comes across as more of a dick in Shrek 3. In the first two, he's a loner. He wants to be by himself, but they get across why he's that way, and he starts to like shift as he goes along. In 3, he's like so selfish, and I mean, it is the point of his arc, but it just comes across like, who is this guy anymore? It doesn't seem like the same character from the first two movies. He's sinking so low. Like, he goes on this whole adventure just to obfuscate this like responsibility and get this random
being a father, right? And being
and there's a way to do a story like that.
It's kind of a midlife crisis story, but yeah, The Incredibles did that better than this movie did.
Yeah, I feel like if you want that father-son kind of dynamic in an animated movie, Disney actually did it better with Treasure Planet. They actually nailed that exact thing.
Sure.
Not here.
The Incredibles, Treasure Planet. Yeah, there's better examples. Like, the emotional moments don't work. I think Shrek is better with the jokes. And the jokes in here, there are a few good ones, but it's a lot of misses. And there's
mostly
a
misses.
Messy story. Yeah, if I gave it a rating, it would be lower.
It's like they focused on the jokes and the jokes only. And the jokes not only weren't good, but they conflicted and interfered with any potential emotional moments that the film could have. So you have like Shrek and Fiona. Shrek's going away on the boat or whatever. Fiona, at that particular moment, decides to say that she's pregnant or whatever. And the reason why they're so far away when that happens is for the excuse of having that joke where it's like, she almost says it and then the horn on the ship and it's like, or whatever. And it's like, oh, we're going to do that a few times. Like, that's explicitly why that conversation was there. But just imagine, like, any alternative to that. Imagine if she told him in a way where they weren't, just going far away from each other, and that was, like, just a moment where he pretended he was okay with it and she didn't even notice. Like, there's nothing emotional about that or important or purposeful. But, like, just if they were communicating with each other closely and he was actually forced to say something about it to her, or if him pretending he was okay with it was like noticeable to her, or there was some sort of conflict, just like there's so much you could get out of that in writing. There's so much you could explore and do with that, but because they wanted that dumb joke there that's not even funny, they decided that the joke was more important, and they were just going to have that interaction be as surface level and simple as possible without exploring anything. It's like, sure, this doesn't need to be like a fucking like Charlie Kaufman script or anything, obviously, but like you can take these moments of opportunity when they're practically feeding themselves to you as a writer and being like, oh, here's a little moment where we can just, explore a little bit about these characters and their dynamic and their relationship and their wants, their fears, their goals, like anything. And they didn't do it. It's so frustrating. It's just such a waste.
You joke, but Kaufman's actually written on a DreamWorks project before.
Yeah, one of the good ones.
Yeah, the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. it really highlights to me how important the villain character is in these Shrek movies, because Prince Charming does not cut it.
He's the worst. I forgot.
When you think about it, in Shrek 1 and 2, a very large chunk of those movies is dedicated to the villains and their plight, and so much of the entertainment comes from the gags that the villains bring forward.
Yeah.
And Prince Charming, his gimmick is so one note, and it's fully explored in the second movie anyway. There's nothing more to do with him. They tried to make it varied by having him kind of team up with every single villain character they can think of, but almost feels like overcompensating. You don't get any real moments from it because he's just such a forgettable villain.
Mm-hmm.
It's bizarre because the implication is that he was such a strong character by himself in the second film that they just had to have him back, right? That's the like there was a new villain in every film except Shrek the Third, pretty much. You know, it's the main villain.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
yeah,
this wasn't even the strongest villain of any of the other movies.
He goes to the bar or the saloon and finds all those other villains.
Yeah, but he's like,
that's
do you remember
like how
that
they
story
try to
element where I'd totally forgotten about it because it is a throwaway thing in the film, but Rapunzel kind of betrays Fiona's gang and is like revealed to be working with Prince Charming.
I don't fucking
something
remember.
there, like, but like that, yeah, exactly. That is like a story beat you could imagine if integrated into a story properly could actually be a moment, a twist, a reveal, or something. But it just comes out of nowhere in the movie, and it means nothing as a result. And you just forget it.
Yeah. Did you like the gag with the headless horseman where he said, "I always just wanted to play the flute"? I thought that was fun.
I didn't even fucking know.
Like
I didn't even know it was there. I didn't pay attention to half of it.
He was just, standing there and he popped up. He's like, I always wanted to play the flute. That's what I mean. The dumb gags are still there.
They're there, but they're so much less justified. Like they half of them that appear in the movie feel like they just like they had like a gag written on like a dart, and they just threw it at the storyboard panels and then just placed it wherever it landed. Like.
Yeah, it feels like leftover gags from Shrek 2 or something that didn't make it in.
If he gives me any trouble, I'll give him persuasion and reason. Here's persuasion and here's reason. Like lifts up his fist. Like, why does that matter right now? It didn't come from anywhere. It's literally just like it's not even a good joke.
Yeah, what about that weird line where Fiona's mum is like headbutting walls and she's like, "You didn't think you got your fighting skills from your father, do you?" It's like, what? I don't know if that's like how it even works at all.
None of it was funny.
Just dumb.
This was actually +1 to the films that I eventually switched over to described video for the visually impaired. It was about an hour through the film.
That exists for this?
Yeah. Well, it's a Shrek. Any big movie usually has that on the Blu-ray, and it was like a big combo pack or whatever.
Yeah, but I wasn't, because this is kind of an old movie. I guess it isn't that old, but I guess it was past the time.
Yeah. It had the musical thing in it, and that was 2013, so the Blu-ray release was sometime after that.
Interesting. So how was that?
It made it funnier. The narrator kept calling Puss every time he was Puss instead, and so it was really good.
It's just over descriptive, like.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anytime there's an action, there's a narrator describing it for blind people, basically, and that made the movie a bit better. But it was still absolute cancer. It was still the worst fucking piece of garbage. I hate it so much.
Might be the worst Shrek movie.
Easily for me. Easily the worst
film.
It is the worst Shrek movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't care about anything. Nothing mattered. The animation was worse. This is what I was going to get to. Because I don't believe the animation got better in this film, even though it was later in time.
No, I don't think so either.
There was much more
this
stiffness
is the worst
to it.
Animated one.
Because like when you're doing computer animation,
I meant more Shrek Forever After when I said that.
Okay, yeah.
that one looks good. This one, no. This one looks bad. Yes.
When you're doing computer animation, it's not just like textures and polygons. It's like there's motions of like from one place to another, and then depending on how much you're leaving up to the computer to fill in the gaps in between. It was so much more noticeable in this film than Shrek 2. This felt closer to Shrek 1 in terms of like the stiffness of the character movement. I was like, how did you downgrade that? It was so weird.
I think it was just less creative overall, just in the presentation.
Yeah, it must just had shit direction, I guess.
Yeah.
Whoever worked on it must not have cared, honestly.
Yeah, this was I watched Shrek 1 and 2 as a kid, but I was a bit too old for Shrek the Third, so I've always had a distaste for this movie. No nostalgia. to help, and it is a drag. It's really boring, Shrek the Third.
Yeah. I couldn't even tell you if I tried watching this when I was younger. It's one of those things that I don't even know if I watched because it's so boring.
I remember the first time I saw it and just thinking it sucked.
I thought it was fine when I first saw it. Yeah, like again, it has dumb jokes in it, but the story didn't stick with me, and I thought King Arthur was annoying.
Very.
Do you want to give ratings? Mm-hmm. A rating of this? Because I'm going to give it like a 3 out of 5 for now, but it could go down like to a 2.5. I don't bring myself to hate it. Like I could leave it on in the background, but it's not that engaging. It's like a building furniture movie where like you're doing something else. Putting on. It's not offensive. It's just like, which that's the worst thing a movie can be. It's just in the middle. It's just lame. It's very lame.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think I could stomach playing this while I'm building furniture. I couldn't do it. I'd rather put on something a bit more entertaining. Obviously, it doesn't have to be engaging, but yeah. 2 out of 10, maybe 1, but I'm sticking with a 2. I guess technically it was a movie, I guess, but Jesus, it was the most irritating, boring, awful thing I'd seen in a long time, honestly. It's absolute cancer. And I hope to never watch this film ever again. This would be torture. This would be my Guantanamo Bay.
I didn't realize bad DreamWorks movies really got under your skin like that much.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
there's something about them.
There's a reason why I don't watch the same films as you.
There is something about bad DreamWorks movies,
Visceral.
Sure, yeah.
They have a special kind of terrible.
Do you think this is worse than Shark Tale?
I haven't seen Shark Tale in a while, but I could.
You think Shark Tale's worse than this?
Yes.
I feel like I would get I feel like I would be less bored
again.
watching Shark Tale, to be perfectly honest.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's sort of a different question though in the end, isn't it? Because
in a way,
it's probably more entertaining, but not for the right reasons.
Right. I think I would watch Shark Tale over this. Yeah. That's what I mean. This is so kind of dull.
I can remember a song from Shark Tale, and I guess I can't remember any of the plot, but
That's the thing. It's memorable. I can remember all of Shark Tale. I could probably draw you the storyboard.
I think I saw it when I was like 13, though, so I don't even know. Well, if you ever want to talk about Shark Tale sometime, you should recommend it.
Yeah, we'll recommend that one day, for sure.
Yeah. But as far as Shrek 3 is concerned, or Shrek the Third, sorry, it's a 2-star for me. DreamWorks definitely has worse, but it is the worst out of the 3 Shrek movies. It's a shame they couldn't have at least wrapped up the trilogy with 3 good movies. Even if it was just slightly better, I would have taken it. But yeah, Justin Timberlake sucks. Every character sucks. It doesn't feel right. It does feel straight to DVD.
Yeah.
I'd be happy never seeing Shrek the Third again. Just skip it. Go straight to Forever After if you're doing
bury
a marathon.
Execute.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, absolute cancer. Maybe this is what gave me food poisoning, actually. Maybe it wasn't even something I ate. Maybe it was this fucking movie. Shrek Forever After.
Yeah. That was how much... It felt like a bit of a gap between...
2010.
It's just as much.
Okay.
3 years between each.
Okay. Well, that's not bad.
Yeah, 2010 for Shrek Forever After.
Straight to animation, like, I like the way the movie's animated. I think it looks good. I like the beginning of the movie.
There's I guess I'll just quickly do plot summary, but Shrek's happy, he's got the babies, and he slowly starts to realize that this perfect, idealistic fairy tale world that he's built up in his mind isn't all it's cracked out to be, and he winds up getting bored and starts wanting more out of his life, starts wanting to relive the good old days when he was more confident about who he was and who he wanted to be, and just being like a scary ogre in the swamp, and just he found fun out of that, and new experiences are more confusing for him, etc., etc. And
he goes to like his kid's birthday party, and they like dress him up kind of like silly.
Yeah,
and he feels kind of embarrassed.
He's feeling like
he flips out.
He's feeling really like dehumanized, I guess. People are like, do the roar.
Yeah, it was actually very like, it really got into the character of Shrek. It was much deeper than I was expecting.
He signs a contract.
I like that movie. This movie's a little more dramatic, and it's less focused on like dumb jokes.
It's more focused, full stop.
Like Shrek actually does, like when he flips out at the birthday party, I'm like, yeah, he's actually really unlikable, but in a way that his character had to be redeemed from that moment, because that scene is like, it doesn't really happen at the end of the movie. He like relives that moment, and I guess he does it correctly at the end. But it was like his character actually growing, and I don't know, it was interesting for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's a better movie than Shrek the Third.
Yeah, he signs a contract with Rumpelstiltskin to undo one day of his life because he wants to relive the old glory days, and then, oh no, it turns out it's a monkey paw scenario, and he might be stuck not existing if he doesn't kiss Fiona by the end of it, but she doesn't know who he is in this movie. And so it's one of those, kind of familiar storylines, but shockingly not terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty impressed by this movie overall, by just how not horrendous it was. Very
compared to Shrek
fresh after Shrek
it's good.
the Third.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It gives you what you'd actually expect from a Shrek movie. They do the trick too of kind of like Avengers Endgaming, going back to the classic moments from the first Shrek and reusing environments and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah.
It's kind of a little trick you can do once you've fucked up with like Shrek the Third, and try and win back some. Oh, I remember that from the first movie kind of reaction. But yeah, I don't mind this movie. I think it's okay. For me, again though, I don't think they solve the villain problem, which I think it's just because he's not funny to me.
Oh yeah?
And when half the movie, something about Rumpelstiltskin, he's not a funny character. I find him more irritating than funny. Whereas, in the first two, the villains I think are perfect. They have the right intensity, they got the right casting, they have the right voice. The Rumpelstiltskin seems more like a kind of side character you'd want just little sprinklings of, where as the main villain, he didn't really do it for me. I loved the animation. I like his character design. I thought the animation on him was very good and expressive.
Sure.
And they had fun with him, but I don't really find him endearing.
He's not endearing,
or
and he's not that funny, but I think his voice acting was pretty great. And I think that, even if he wasn't like being played for a lot of jokes, I felt like he was a fairly strong villain. I felt like he represented a bit more actual consequence in terms of a villain.
Yeah, I think it got the story side right, but not the humor side.
Yeah, it was weirdly emotionally resonant, the whole film. Like, I was shocked with how well they handled the emotional beats in the storytelling, and there was actual consequence. The music was used appropriately. A lot of really great work with the score, with some really interesting new additions to it too. They didn't just like do the main theme. There's like this weird moment where they've got the bunch of ogres underground, and then the witches are flying overhead, and they do this like weird like violin solo that just sounds like it would belong. It sounds like almost like the Moonlight score, although this came before that. But yeah, it was like some really, really great stuff going on in the soundtrack, which I found to be very surprising.
No, you mentioned that kind of witch action sequence earlier on in the movie. And that's when I knew that, they actually tried with this one compared to 3. Because there is action in that movie, but there's nothing really about it, the way it's executed, that it's left in your memory. But there's a lot of like vivid choices of the presentation and like stark contrast to how you remember the environments from the previous movies. Like Shrek revisits his home, but this time it's desolate, and he's got like find Fiona, and this time everyone's like spun around so Donkey doesn't recognize him. He's pulling the witch's like cart. The premise immediately is more interesting, and you want to find out how he's going to get out of the situation, as opposed to 3, where you just don't really care. There's nothing really interesting going on. There's no fun beats at all.
Yeah.
Elseworld Shrek is fun.
In 3, he just seems selfish. He's just unlikable.
Yeah, because you said in 3 you kind of felt he was going through a midlife crisis, but I felt that more in Forever After. Or at least they're very similar,
except here it's more like personal. Like you actually get the sense, like, he used to be a badass ogre, and now he's like, he's being made a fool of.
Properly communicated.
It's properly communicated, and it's emotional. Whereas in that one, it's just like he's just kind of a bitch. Like, he's afraid of being the king.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's driven by like
I don't know why. I still don't understand anything in the third movie.
There's also a million other things going on in that movie, and it's just not that good. Yeah, this is just better communicated.
Yeah, it flows well.
I like the way that the beginning is animated, like the whole sequence with his family and his little home. Like, I like the lighting on everything.
And the editing, actually, of that sequence.
Yeah. There's the way that things are cut together.
It's much better communicated storytelling.
Mm-hmm. There's some really interesting stuff going on in the animation in terms of like the angles and like the way it's cut together. Like the storyboarding and cinematography is like very noticeable, which I don't know if I could mention anything about it in the third movie other than it was just bad. Like it felt very uninspired. But this one, it was like, oh, somebody actually has like a vision here.
It is bad.
In terms of like the actual, I guess the other aspects of the animation, like it felt much more smooth. It felt like a huge improvement on top of Shrek 3, obviously. The one thing that felt really weird about the animation was that, you know, as soon as it's 2010, then you're able to fit more polygons. You have more textures, you know, all these individual hairs and stuff sticking out from Donkey. And when we're so used to the character looking like a bit more simple, it does feel a bit jarring. I don't know if either of you felt that way. Like Puss in Boots looked normal to me, but then Donkey, it felt like there were like too many hairs on him, you know? Like the texture of his fur was just like really weird.
Yeah, I did get that a bit at first, but I liked how they were able to change his design for the Elseworld version, where he did have a bit of a longer beard, and they were able to show it through the different designs. But yeah, I can see what you mean. But I was really feeling because Shrek the Third it's so bland in the way everything's presented, and I wonder if
the blandest,
because I guess they started the Kung Fu Panda trilogy in between this, which is like a totally different style of presenting a movie. It's more action focused. They had to nail the kind of the energy and the visual language of that style of movie. So then moving forward, it does kind of feel re-energized. They have the whole like ogre camp thing, which also feels like familiar DreamWorks territory, with the kind of like the pandas all coming together and stuff. They definitely play with a similar box of tricks in the same way Pixar do, but with DreamWorks they like like parent stories a lot of like I had a mum that's actually alive that I didn't know about. Your Kung Fu Panda 3s, Madagascar 2s. They love those kind of simple ideas, and a lot of it is in Forever After. It's pretty simple, but yeah, they just go back to basics. They make it entertaining. They give it just enough to carry it through. But at the end of it all, though, I'm just kind of thinking, man, I wish it was just Shrek 1 and 2, or at least wait until they had some kind of inspiration after Shrek 2. But,
I wouldn't have minded if this was just the third movie and that was it.
I'd be okay with that, actually, yeah.
If you just skipped the other one. No Justin Timberlake.
It's definitely a better Shrek 3.
Yeah. Are there as many gags in this one that you think land as...
there were some notable ones for me. I liked when they were like whipping Donkey as if they were like changing the radio station to make him sing different songs. Like, that's kind of funny.
Okay.
I like that. And it was also, you know, it didn't feel like it was out of nowhere. It felt like it belonged in the scene.
I found it funny when Shrek does get the day of his dreams and he's kind of frolicking around.
Oh yeah, the
while
montage
the villagers are trying to kill him,
scaring people.
That montage is humorous. That felt more like the first two kind of movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I do think the first two are funnier. There's gags in that
one.
Yeah,
better jokes overall.
We didn't even mention Human Shrek, and like that whole part is funny.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if we did.
We didn't even mention that in Shrek the Third, that they do body swapping again. That's like one of the things. That
and it wasn't as funny.
Shrek and God, that film is so forgettable.
You're
I
redonkulous.
God,
you're a catastrophe or something. It was like, oh my god.
Well,
yeah, trying to do too much at once. This Shrek Forever After, in terms of how things are built up, like obviously there are goals that the script has. You know, you want him to get to the point where he's signing a magical contract to give away a day of his life, right? if this same plot beat was in Shrek the Third, it would have just fucking happened like immediately. Like nothing would have built up to it. But in this film, they actually took the time and you know they did this sequence of like him living day in day out of just the same thing over and over, taking out the trash, and then right after that the birthday party and like do the roar. It's like the way that it's shot and the way that it's paced really brings out the tension and what they're trying to communicate. It justifies the decisions that are made later in the film. You can understand why Shrek, you know, obviously it's a plot device that needs to happen, but you can understand why he gets there rather than just like, why is this happening? It's like, oh, like it's obvious because you just showed us him experiencing all this stuff beforehand. That we can see his emotions, we feel his emotions. It's communicated properly.
It reminds me of the second movie, the dinner sequence that they have.
It's a stressful scene.
They had a very bad dinner. Yeah,
it's like a Safdie Brothers
it's like
scene.
You know, it's almost in the same point in the movie. Yeah, and the third movie's missing stuff like that. I guess what it has is the dream sequence Shrek has.
Yeah, for sure. The jokes aren't as numerous or strong in this film, but there was a lot of proper communicated emotion, and I think that deserves some credit. It was handled mostly well, and it's very surprising that they were able to do that, especially coming off of Shrek the Third.
Yeah, it's a shame they figured it out then, because as we mentioned earlier, 2010, the Shrek formula and the cast, it was stretching thin at that point in terms of relevancy and trying to. Like even this, I don't know if it was quite enough to reinvigorate or save Shrek, but they keep changing their Shrek plans. I read like 4 different articles about what like the different plans for Shrek were in terms of the franchise. Like it was going to be 5 movies, then it changed to 4 movies, and now we're back into a 5th movie being made. But Forever After was supposed to be the end. Do you think it wraps up the story in an okay way?
Yeah, I think it does.
I thought so. I thought it was fun.
I don't know how you make another Shrek movie.
They would remake it
without really being inspired. Well, because apparently they are making another one,
and it's not a remake.
No, I think it's supposed to be the 5th and final. They restart because they cancelled the project, but then restarted it in I think 2015 or something.
I don't know, because like what do you do at this point? Because Shrek Forever After already felt like the, you know, kind of in some ways manipulative member berries that you're like the end credits song was I'm a Believer Again, right? Are you going to do that in the 5th movie too? If not, how are you going to top that? Because you can't make it more conclusive than that by wrapping it up back to where we were at the beginning.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I don't know what they expect to be able to do, because the 4th movie already was, you know, they had the reference to the waffles. That was a funny line in the 1st movie, and then they'd made it more of like a actual thing in the 4th movie where Donkey falls for the trap and there's waffles or whatever, right? Like, yeah, it feels like this should be the end. Also, they kind of brought back the original edginess too, like the moment where Donkey called the gingerbread man cracker was pretty good.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
That was missing in the 3rd one. It was missing that edge.
Yeah.
I was missing the, you know, ass and damn.
Actually, Donkey gets 1 in Shrek the Third. He has I haven't tripped like that since college. Donkey has that. But again, it's nothing to do with fairy. Yeah, it's lame because it's nothing to do with fairy tales or anything relevant. It's like it's not the best.
We need like an F word. Or like, you know, fuck. They need to say fuck.
And
Shrek needs to go like, fuck this. I think that would have helped the movie.
Yeah. I appreciated the Puss in Boots wasn't bad in this movie, actually. I didn't hate him.
Huh? Okay.
He was was a chonk puss. He was big and fat. And it was pretty funny.
Yeah, they found a new angle to make him funny again.
Yeah. It wasn't just the same old. I mean, some of it was the same old, but yeah, when he showed up in the movie, I was like, oh yeah, he's a character. Like, I didn't feel like anything was missing when he showed up, you know? I wasn't waiting for Puss in Boots. Yeah, parts of this movie felt like Duncan Jones's Warcraft.
With all the ogres fighting.
Yeah. It looked about the same.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it's funny.
God, I'd forgotten about Warcraft.
the ogre fighting stuff. It was more like How to Train Your Dragon or something. It was more
Yeah,
Yeah, it made me
dramatic.
think
It
of the
was more
Vikings
serious.
from How to Train Your Dragon, yeah.
Yeah, that's when it became less of a comedy for me and more taking Shrek seriously, which is good and all. I think it's
Yeah.
good. It works for this story. At least it's different. At least it's not the same shit again, like Shrek the Third.
I mean,
Yeah,
Shrek
I guess
the
that's
Third
the
was
thing,
different.
whereas Shrek the Third, it's different, but it
Yeah,
has
they
no
were just
story.
really out of
There's nothing
steam.
to...
Right.
Yeah.
They needed
Nothing
to change
connects.
it up. Right. So at least it's something new.
There is something like you can really explore both comedically and emotionally when you do this alternate history thing with a story that, you know, your
Mhm.
fans are obviously going to be so familiar with. You know, the chalk in the castle with Fiona, who had obviously stayed there a long time. Like, that's a pretty emotionally brutal moment. Like, I wasn't expecting that from a Shrek
Sure,
film,
yeah.
just being like, holy shit. Like, that's pretty dark.
Yeah, she's completely different
Yeah.
Yeah.
as a result of that, yeah. As a result of Shrek's
Yeah.
mistake.
So I don't hate this movie at all. It's not the strongest thing
No,
in the
I've
world,
never
obviously.
had a
but,
problem with
like,
Forever After.
yeah, I could watch this again and not feel like I'm dying like the third movie.
Yeah, it's just down the middle.
It's good.
Yeah.
I'll go 3.5 on it out of 5.
Really? Okay. I'm a bit low. I'm a 3-star for this. I think it's
Mhm.
just above average. It's just enough for a Shrek movie to be okay.
And I'm giving this one a 5 out of 10. Very inoffensive. It even says on the poster, Shrek, the final chapter. On the IMDb poster.
Yeah,
It doesn't
not
even
for
say
long.
Forever After. Did they change the title? What's up with that?
They might have.
The tagline, it ain't
yeah.
ogre till it's ogre.
It makes it look like Shrek 3 because of the 3D thing.
I know, right?
Yeah, they don't want you to
Fucking-
think about Shrek the Third.
2010 had everything in 3D.
Did they release 3 in like a 3D thing? Like an advertising?
They might
Shrek
have.
the Third in 3D? I can't remember. That trend was just so obnoxious.
I don't know. They were really pushing for a lot of 3D releases around the time.
It was around that era.
Yeah.
Because that was around
Yeah.
like Avatar era, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it was like.
If you released a
There are
computer animated
a lot of Shrek
movie,
things.
it would be in 3D in theaters. They want to charge you an
Yeah.
extra $3
DreamWorks
per
in
glasses
particular
or
had
whatever.
their whole initiative with 3D stuff. They went in on it.
Yeah.
All
There
right.
was a phase where every movie was 3D.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It really didn't catch on.
Yes, thank God.
All right. Puss in Boots, 2011. Who wants to describe this film?
Yeah. Someone
Um,
else.
I mean, I would do it, but I didn't rewatch this one, so it's not the freshest.
Yeah, I don't remember
there
much
being,
about the plot of it.
Yeah, you watched it
Puss in
recently
Boots
too,
was in
right?
it.
So
Yeah.
Humpty Dumpty.
yeah, the Puss is a cat. Humpty Dumpty is his friend.
Yeah.
They want to get the golden eggs.
He's in like Spain, right?
Yeah, I guess
Mhm.
probably get the golden
Oh,
eggs.
it's the golden goose.
They get it, and then Humpty betrays him, and then yeah, it was boring. I didn't very much like this film. Didn't really add a lot to anything. This one was more well received in general, both critically and audience wise, than Shrek Forever After for some reason. I don't know if that is just because of the time period it was released. I don't know. I honestly, I can't rationalize it. I guess people just love Puss in Boots, and they don't get sick of the same joke over and over where it's like, oh, he's a cat. See, he drinks milk. Like, okay.
It's a solid film.
Is it? You couldn't even remember
Has
the
some
plot.
Funny jokes.
We were asking.
No, because it's not that, it isn't, it doesn't excel. I don't think it's as good as Shrek, but I think it's a fine movie for families to watch. I don't know. Maybe that's why it has good reviews. It's just so inoffensive. And it's not quite Shrek the Third, where it's just bad. It is kind of in the middle.
This is a different kind of movie than the other Shrek films because this one seems more like an action adventure type movie with some jokes in between,
Right.
sort of thing.
It's just a little
It doesn't
more
really feel like
formulaic.
as much of like a parody film.
Uh-huh.
Like a lot of it is very action oriented, but the action just isn't that impressive. Like maybe if I was seeing it in an IMAX with a 3D blah 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 blah, and I was 10, then sure it would be like great action. But
Yeah, with the sound.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it really just not super impressive, and just a lot of like falling and yelling, like oh, sort of, that thing. It's like, I don't know, what am I supposed to get out of
Voice
that?
acting's good.
Is it?
Billy Bob Thornton's in it.
Yeah, everyone was fine.
There were some things about it that I felt had some potential. Like the soundtrack, the Spanish guitar, like that was good. I liked that a lot. But I don't know.
I dug the action. I thought it was fun. I agree that it didn't blow me away, but I thought it was good. Like, it was a fun movie.
Yeah, I remember
maybe
finding
closer
it
to a
okay.
building furniture movie than a masterpiece.
Sure,
It was
I would
fun.
rather build furniture to this than Shrek the Third.
Yeah, there's just not that much of note about it, to
Yeah.
be honest. In the DreamWorks pantheon.
Yeah, this is excruciatingly boring, but not nearly as offensive as Shrek the Third. I enabled the described video again very early on into this one because I remembered it existed sooner. It was a funnier voice. He sounded very bored describing everything. He sounded like kind of like a faster talking Jeff Goldblum, but he was calling him Puss and not Poos. So.
Oh, this
Wow.
is from the era where Del Toro had his fingers in a bunch of DreamWorks
Oh yeah.
projects. Yeah, Puss in Boots, How to Train Your Dragon 2, he worked on as well.
Huh.
He's got like some Netflix DreamWorks thing about trolls. Did you not notice that at all in the movie? I think he had a lot to do with the Humpty Dumpty character. That was his favorite one or something.
Yeah, I don't know, because I really didn't like the Humpty Dumpty character at all, and I found him to be very boring and useless. And as soon as you said Del Toro, I almost thought Benicio, but then I remembered that it's not. It's Guillermo.
No.
The other Del Toro. Yeah, my biggest issue with this film is like it's an hour and a half just like the rest of them, but so much less happens. Like everything feels so stretched out. Like there's 3 things that happen in the movie and then it's over.
So does it not like parody action movies in a similar way Shrek does for fairy tales or anything?
Not really, no. It feels like an
just action
unironic
movie.
presentation of that. It doesn't feel like as much of a parody as much of it is just being that. Just feels like it's a kid's action movie. It doesn't really feel like it's poking fun of itself in that way.
Yeah, I'd honestly always avoided this one because it looked inessential, and that's what
really
I remember
was.
it being fairly. Yeah.
Half of my notes for this are me just saying the word boring.
It is. So like,
It's very, very boring.
Yeah.
It was like half an hour through the movie and they were still doing like the flashback shit of like, oh, did you know that he was friends with Humpty when he was a child? And it's like, just get on with it.
there's a
Like,
lot
dude,
of flashbacks.
get the plot of the movie going. Like, why does this
Yeah.
matter?
How he got his boots. Yeah, they make sure you know everything about Puss in
Yeah.
Boots. Like, there's no stone unturned with his character.
To
by
give him
end
the
of it.
justification
How
of
he got his
betraying him
boots,
later.
How he got
Okay,
his
whatever.
sword. How he got his name, his friends, his mom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was so stupid.
Everything you want to know about
They
Puss
showed
in
him how he
Boots
got
from when
the
he was
boots.
a little fucking kitten. You know everything about him by
Yeah.
the end of the movie.
It was like Cruella film, See,
Yeah.
Oh, man.
she didn't come up with that laugh. She saw it on TV once. She thought it was cool. Okay.
Dude, the prequel problem, it's just you can really go
Yeah.
down a bad road with prequel content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Humpty is a useless character, and there's literally zero interesting dynamic between Puss and Humpty. There's like, what is there?
Oh, Humpty was picked on as a kid.
It's not really a dynamic. I don't know.
Isn't there like a twist where Humpty he survives at the end or something? A fool that otherwise should have killed him.
I don't
There's like
think
some reveal or some
the
twist.
reveal is that he's made of gold.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's coming back to me now.
It's really
I'm remembering that
dumb,
final
actually.
sequence.
And then the line, oh my
Yeah.
god, I think I wrote this down. What is that line? He falls off the cliff, and then Puss looks down and sees that there's just a golden egg with some white exterior eggshell around it, and then realizes that Humpty was made of gold the entire time, and it's so crazy because he was looking for gold, but it was inside him all along, and Puss says, I always knew you were good inside. What the fuck? Like, what is that trying to send like a message? Like,
Yeah.
Isn't that like a weirdly
You're good 'cause
superficial?
you're gold.
You're good because you're
Yeah.
made of gold inside? Like, what is that trying to say even? And that's just a stupid line. It's a stupid resolution for the character. It's really dumb.
What did you think of Salma Hayek?
She was fine.
Oh, yeah.
Her character, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a really old and annoying trope for the whole like, oh, there's a villain who's like better than the main character, and they're like fighting for the first part, but you never hear their voice. And in my head, I was just like, it's a girl, and then they reveal, you're a girl. Oh, but you're such a good fighter. You're a girl. It's like, oh, it's just so obvious what's gonna happen. Like, oh, and now they date. Now they're dating. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right. Then the rest of the movie is just like, oh, I gotta flirt with her.
Yeah, like it's really annoying.
It's
And you
the
can
rest of
argue
the
that it's
movie,
just
yeah.
playing in line with the tropes of other like action movies. Sure, I guess you can make
Senorita,
that case. But, like,
come here. It's like just that.
yeah, like I don't see the difference
it seems
between
more for kids, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't see the difference between it functioning as a parody of those things and it just being those things unironically, because it doesn't do a whole lot to actually actively poke fun at those types of things. It just kind of does them.
Well, yeah, but it's
know?
more tongue in cheek given the kind of movie it is. It's like an animated kids movie. So I don't think it's taking itself seriously.
Does it have the kind of adult jokes in there though, like Shrek does? I can't remember. Or is
Not
it
Not
more
really,
just
no.
focused on the funny Reddit.
It's
cat
still
stuff,
not
yeah?
Disney level of like safe.
Uh-huh.
It's a little. There's a little edge.
Might
to
as
it.
well be. I don't know. Wasn't
Yeah,
super
but
edgy.
he's a cat burglar in Spain.
Yeah,
So
cat burglar.
Yeah, about right.
Yep, very boring, and I don't think I have anything else to say about it. It was just very boring.
yeah, I would give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, it'd either be a 3 out of 5 or a 2.5, like right down the middle. Because I
Yeah.
can barely remember anything about it.
And I'm giving this one a 3 out of 10. There was some good music. It was very boring.
Hmm.
All right, so I was the only one that watched Shrek the Musical from 2013, so I'll keep this short. They took the first Shrek movie and they made a musical out of it, and it's longer. It's like over 2 hours. And I was in my worst day of food poisoning symptoms. It was when I was getting hit the hardest, and I was in bed with a
dear.
fever and very nauseous the entire day. And so I watched it in kind of like a fever dream like state, and I played it in 1.5 times speed. And it wasn't the worst thing, but I guess I'll just mention some notable aspects about it. They recreate things like him smashing out of the outhouse or whatever, but they don't have the Smash Mouth song. And it feels like something's missing because
Oh.
they do their own,
Yeah.
just it's like average musical music, Like,
Mhm.
oh,
Maybe it's a
exactly what you'd
licensing issue.
expect. Nothing crazy going on
Yeah,
musically.
exactly.
And then, his parents, like, they do this weird backstory with his parents, like, sending him on his way when he's, like, a child, like he's a Pokemon trainer or some shit.
Shrek.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that happens in the storybook.
Oh, yeah?
Mm.
Okay, cool. That's where that came from.
They
Then.
just cut that out of the movie.
And then, we were talking about in the original Shrek how there's some characters that are, kind of like high-pitched screaming characters like Gingerbread Man and also Pinocchio, and they did it well enough where it was like kind of funny. In this musical thing, it was like twice as much high-pitched screaming, and it started to get really irritating. Very not great.
How did they achieve like Donkey?
It was a more flamboyant man, basically. It was a Donkey was like a gay man, kind of, which is weird.
Oh.
What was really interesting was Farquaad, because they basically got like a regular dude with like chisel jaw or whatever, and they had him like crouching, and he was using his hands as like his front legs, and everything else was hidden behind this cape sort of thing. And the way that they staged it, it looked like he was just like a little person with like a large person's face. It's really interesting how they did it. And then, some of the practical effects were interesting. And then I got bored halfway through it and skipped through it, the rest of it. And 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 for me.
Didn't keep your attention. I watched Shrek 4D.
Oh, yeah. What is that all about?
Yeah, what is it?
I've seen it before. I didn't watch it like recently. I went to Universal recently. It's like it's like a movie basically. And you sit down, and if you go on the ride at Universal, they like spray some stuff at you, or
Boogers.
like the light
What's
effects.
ogre vision?
Yeah, smell effects.
What is ogre vision?
Is just the glasses. They give you
Oh,
green
is it in
3D
3D?
glasses. Yeah, it's 3D. So if you watch it just on YouTube, you could probably find it just on YouTube or online somewhere. It's just called Shrek 3D, I guess, because that's all you can do from your home. And it's fine. It's like a light adventure with Shrek.
All the voice actors come back, I assume?
Yeah, they're all back.
Oh.
That's why I like Shrek. They just do all these little things with him
Yeah.
off to the side. He's a fun character. It's a good
Well,
cast.
we didn't mention all the main actors. They got paid like $10 million each, I think. Or maybe it was... They got like $300,000 each for Shrek 1, and it was like just an obscene like bump for the second movie.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
I hope the animators got paid, but
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, probably not. All right, I guess that about does it for all the Shreks. We didn't watch any of the short films because why would we? There's too many. And I was feeling so sick.
Yeah, I've seen
seen
them
them
all
before.
before, but they do feel just straight to DVD. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
no
there's
point.
nothing to say about any of them.
They're
Yeah,
not
that's
even
how
films.
Shrek 4D is. If you're a big fan of Shrek, there's a lot of subsidiary content you could check out.
Yeah, and I don't even think
That's got
Mike
YouTube
Myers
channel.
voice acts in half of those, right? They like get some other guy.
No, it's like someone doing an impression.
It's so sad.
Donkey.
I don't know. It adds some extra humor.
All right, I guess it's time for questions.
Okay, let's do some questions from the Sardonicast community. If you want to leave your own for us to answer in future episodes, head over to the subreddit where there'll be a suggestion thread. Goosey McGooseface2 is going to start us off. Favorite Shrek meme? Just throw it out there. What is your favorite Shrek meme?
It's tough to pick one.
I gotta go with the Smash Mouth song. Like that's the meme, right? I
Just
could say
burst
that.
out of a door and say, "Somebody!" It's not a bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Like
is
the whole
strong.
song. Can't
Yeah.
stop
Where did you
coming and
guys
they won't
settle
stop
on
coming.
How did it go? I love Shrek,
Shrek is
The
love, Shrek is
4chan.
life.
Shrek is love, yeah.
Yeah, that
Where
weird,
do you
like-
guys stand on that
Funny.
one.
That
Those are it's
pornographic
fucking
fan
disturbing.
fiction or whatever.
There's like that Source Filmmaker
It's fucking
YouTube
gross.
version.
Yeah. Like Shrek comes in through the window and like penetrates you or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That was huge. I remember that was a moment. That was a bigger moment than Shrek 4 coming out. Like that video coming out, that meme spreading was a bigger deal than the movies at that point. But yeah,
Yes.
I don't know if that's my favorite one. I just like the one you probably started the episode with. I'm a big fan of that one. That tickles me every time.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Ear rape is always good.
Yeah.
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 Sorry,
It's
everybody.
funny.
On a similar note, Feeling Ad 6715 says, "What is your favorite and least favorite DreamWorks movie?" They say live action and animation, but why don't we just simplify it to animation? Because they produce a bunch of live action shit. Just do
Really?
animation. I could be wrong.
And
I thought
I
it's
know.
like Spielberg's. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Because, yeah, Spielberg. This was like Saving Private Ryan. He made that under...
Yeah, I think that
DreamWorks.
does have. It might do at the beginning.
Let's see.
Mhm. Interesting.
I mean,
The answer is Kung Fu Panda 2 as far as best.
I would have
Mhm.
to watch Road to El Dorado again, but it's just... It feels so nostalgic in my memory that I want to say it, but it's been so long that I don't know if I can say it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It does hold up. It is good.
Yeah, that's a strong one. How to Train Your Dragon. I'd say that's up there. What
Yeah,
you said,
definitely.
Alex. Kung Fu Panda. Those
Kung
are
Fu
strong.
Panda 2, yeah.
Those are strong. The
Mhm.
first... Or I'd say
I'm
all
a
of
big
them.
fan of Curse of the Were-Rabbit too. Wallace
That's
and Gromit.
them.
You would
Okay.
be.
Yeah, man. I that's one I don't understand with you, Adam. Is Wallace and Gromit hate? Like,
I don't hate it. It's just
Well,
not for me.
those are excellent. Aardman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as the worst is concerned,
Probably
Shark
Shrek
Tale.
the Third.
Shrek the Third.
Yeah.
Like, those are
I-
bad. Shark Tale's bad.
really.
I don't think I would feel that upset at any of their films. I was shocked with just how awful Shrek the Third was.
Really, I think there's worse than Shrek the Third.
Yeah, maybe ones I haven't
I think
seen.
Shark Tale's worse than it.
Madagascar 2, like that was pretty fucking bad.
Really, I'd put Madagascar 1 if I was going to pick one of them.
Madagascar 1. I forgot which one I liked the most. I think we agreed the third one was the best.
You liked 2, Adam liked 3.
I actually did like 2, but who fucking knows?
Sorry, you loved 2, and Adam loved 3.
Yeah.
That's how it went.
I think I did love 2.
Like, what we were saying about Shrek 3 is kind of how I feel about the movie Home. Have you even heard of this?
I have.
This movie they released
I do know
in
Home,
2015.
yeah.
I never watched it though.
It might be the most
Sheldon
generic
from
movie ever
The
made.
Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, it's Sheldon and Rihanna. Like, going around in the most
goodness.
generic.
Yeah,
Dude.
it sounds bad. Even the title's
What
bad.
a cast.
Yeah.
Home. Like, okay. Because the aliens is going home.
Yeah, the only thing of note was like the hair texture on the main character. That was it.
Yeah.
Like nothing else was. Yeah, that film sucks.
Yeah.
I could watch Shark Tale.
Yeah, but that does have the meme value. There is something about DreamWorks, man. They create meme movies a lot of the time. You got your Boss Babies. Madagascar is a huge meme now. Shrek is a huge meme. The
Boss
Penguins
Baby
in
is not
Madagascar,
DreamWorks, is
B
it?
movie.
Is it?
Yeah, no, it is DreamWorks.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
I keep making these mistakes.
Trolls, they did as well. Yeah, the B movie is like
Shit,
the
it's
ultimate
DreamWorks.
meme DreamWorks movie. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of, I just noticed on the wiki that Boss Baby's getting a sequel. Apparently, there's a Puss in Boots sequel coming in 2022, according to IMDb.
Yeah.
So I heard they were doing like a donkey movie, but I guess that got abandoned.
Sucks.
Yeah. Puss in Boots, The Last Wish.
The Last Wish.
Yeah.
Is that Illumination? Or is it... Illumination's just working on, like, Shrek.
I wonder.
Puss in Boots is just one of those characters. Even like the fairy tale book versions, like it's always just been popular. I feel like.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, there's a Netflix original series of
People like
Puss in Boots, too.
Yep, that too.
Yeah, there's like a
Damn.
weird interactive Netflix game thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Shrek never stopped. It's still going.
No,
there
I
was
guess
never any
not.
break. They've just been doing a bunch of direct to Netflix and direct to DVD
changes
shit.
form.
Yeah,
Rides, musicals.
they've been creeping in the background.
Short films. Yeah, stuff with Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots, I guess, is a very marketable character. Producers like him. But
Mm-hmm. It's a cat.
it is a cute cat.
Yeah.
What was the question? Favorite and least favorite DreamWorks.
Yeah, we answered it.
Yeah,
man.
Shark
We got it.
Tale's awful. Yeah, and best is
I would be sharked to find out Shark Tale would make me as angry as Shrek the Third. I'd be very sharked to find that out.
Well, I'm sure we'll find
I
out.
guess
at
I
some
have to
point,
watch
yeah.
it. I guess I have to expose myself to Shark Tale.
So you've never seen Shark Tale?
No, I did when I
missed
was
it.
like 13 or something.
yeah, it's been a long
Okay.
time. You never thought to
I
revisit
didn't.
it.
I mean, it wasn't great, but I couldn't imagine it's gonna give me as much visceral
Scorsese's
hatred.
best performance, probably.
Yeah, fucking Martin Scorsese's in it, and D12 made a song
Yeah.
for it.
Bila is cool. 123 says, "What are your opinions of that Amazon Prime show, Invincible?" I know Adam's seen it. Have you seen this, Ralph?
No, I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot about it.
Do you have any interest in it? Because I watched it
Yeah.
a week or two
I
ago.
have interest in it.
I was really impressed with
Yeah.
what I saw. I'd heard about Invincible, but I used to read The Walking Dead, the actual issues of it. I read about 100 issues of it, and I'd always heard about Invincible and how good it is, but I just settled on Walking Dead. But the show does a good job of bringing it to life, and the fact it's animated, I think, makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Because the conversation
Very
settled
much
to
so.
it like it's very similar to The Boys. In the premise.
Yeah.
I don't know. It veers off from that point. I think they're different enough so they're not kind of eating each other's audiences. Or
I like it
anything.
better than The Boys at this point.
Really, you like it better?
Yeah, Boys season 2 is a little disappointing for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait and see till there are multiple seasons to contrast against. But if they can keep this level up, it could be great, because there's great source material, I think, to go off.
Yeah, it's more creative and more fun. I like the humor better.
The Boys is more cynical in the way it's mocking the industry and with the specific kind of Me Too stuff, and that it seems way more overtly political, whereas Invincible's a bit more concerned with the actual kind of story side, and the characters and the way that's all going, and the grayness of it is similar to The Walking Dead in that way, where you just don't really know where it's going a lot of the time. And they do subvert it in really clever ways. There's much like The Boys, it does kind of boil down to this this character that is the most terrifying, threatening thing that carries the show, with the voice acting and everything.
I like the visual style better than The Boys too. The Boys is starting to feel like pretty stale for me. Like, I'm gonna watch season 3 of The Boys and see how it goes. I don't know if I'll finish it, but like I feel like I'm obligated to continue that, whereas Invincible I'm actually excited to continue.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch Invincible. I don't really have interest in The Boys right now.
Yeah.
Maybe when it's over, like close to being over.
Yeah, that does suck having to wait, but yeah, there is a lot of promise, and the only thing I noticed was there was some budget stuff you could clearly see whenever there are crowd shots of loads of characters. They were like really simple CG models kind of wiggling around, that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm sure that
maybe
kind of thing will go away with.
Too, but...
Yeah, exactly. The bigger the budget, I'm glad it has kind of popped off and people are loving it, because it's like an edgy, brutally violent 2D animated like superhero property. It's quite cool to see. Yeah, I'm very much willing to watch more and can't wait to see where it goes. The story has me hooked. Yeah,
great character writing, clear goals and motivations.
I really like the main character's performance too. I can't remember his name. He's in The Walking Dead.
Stephen Yeun.
Stephen Yeun. There's something he brings to that character that fits so well for like the protagonist of a kind of Spider-Man-y. He's like just about 20, trying to juggle his life. He just brings that kind of innocence to it. Yeah, big fan.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody check it out. Invincible. It's dank.
Okay. What do we think on this then from Cooper315? What are your guys' thoughts on Another Round already having an American remake in development? What do you guys think of the Americanization of foreign films? Of course, there are great examples with a great effect, like Funny Games, but more often than not, they miss the mark. Thanks, guys. Love the podcast.
So annoying, because the movie is like very much a commentary on Danish drinking culture, isn't it? Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain things that just don't work as well in America. You look at like the Old Boy remake, it's like, why doesn't anybody have fucking guns? It's like, this is America. If you're setting it in America, exactly. It kind of ruins. You have to pay attention to like, what about this story and the location of the story worked together in the original, and you can't. I don't know. Sometimes it just doesn't fucking work when you try to bring it somewhere else. The same intent's not going to be there.
It's not like the story doesn't translate. It's all you have to do is just read some subtitles. Otherwise it's a fairly standard drama, but just in a different language. I mean, the performances. That's what you're there for. Is that cast and that director. I really don't understand I understand why they do it, but I don't creatively see why it would be a fulfilling thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have a crazy angle to take, which it's such a simple kind of idea. I don't see how they could get wacky or do something different with it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just going to be a one-to-one sort of translation. There's enough to it already.
You take a thoughtful and purposeful foreign language film, and then you translate it by only keeping like the bare minimum bone structure of what the story is, without anything like important. Without all of the aspects that made it exceptional, and you turn it into this bland fucking product, like fucking Force Majeure being turned into Downhill starring Will Ferrell or whatever. Like,
this is definitely not a good track record.
The moment you put Will Ferrell in it, you've got the wrong idea of what the movie is, right?
Yeah, because Martyrs has that abysmal American.
Yeah. Everything has an abysmal American remake if it's a good foreign language film. Fucking Parasite's getting a treatment now, but it's like they're saying that it's like set in the universe and it's not a remake or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see how it is, but
who knows?
it's like an HBO series. I don't remember.
Yeah, because they're making them like shows now, aren't they? Because Snowpiercer's like a show.
They just love their money.
Yeah,
it's the IP.
it's just
they need
so
that intellectual property to mill.
weird.
There's some good ones. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, David Fincher's movie.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that one.
That's a good one.
The underlying issue is that it's just the implication is just that Hollywood is just so creatively bankrupt that they need to do this. When it's like, if the original film wasn't successful enough that you would justify making an American remake from it, because if everybody saw it already, then you wouldn't need to make an American remake, right? But it was successful enough that you thought the idea presented in the English language would do well, right? It's like, just promote the original film. I don't know.
I think it's a case by case thing. I think if you have a new take on the story, go ahead. But Parasite, I don't know. I don't think that needs a remake right now.
What's really offensive to me about it is just how quickly it happens.
Does it really need a remake? I don't think most people
that film was huge.
feel that way.
If it's an American film getting an American remake, they wait like at least 10 years, maybe 3 if it's Spider-Man, but most properties you wait a bit. But if it's a foreign language film, they wait like a year or 2. And the implication is like, oh, these are just entirely different markets, so nobody in America saw the original film, and maybe that's true, but like it's a sad commentary on audiences, I guess.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if it's a good movie, it's a good movie. But yeah, the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo one is fine.
Yeah,
that's actually a very good movie.
It's a good director who has a vision.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
What's weird is that one wasn't successful enough for a sequel.
Yeah, the girl with in the spider's web or whatever the fuck that was, the piece of shit.
Oh, I never saw it.
No one saw it.
Oh wait, was that the Yeah, there was like an
Foy.
American sequel with like a different actress and different director. Yeah.
That's right.
They got the guy that rips off David
why
Fincher
bother?
to replace David Fincher.
Yeah.
Evil Dead 2013 man.
Okay.
Oops.
Let's do this one from The Wizard of Oswald. What are your guys' opinions on the Resident Evil video games? I personally love most of them, with some exceptions, Code Veronica 6 and some spin-offs. By the way, I hate the movies.
8 is fun. I like 8. I like 7. I think that's all I
Did you play
played.
2?
I played 2 and 3, the remaster or the remakes. Those are very well done.
You should play 4.
But I'm not a huge fan of them. The movies are awful.
Yeah,
the movies
the movies
But
are awful.
The video games are much more creative and capture, something closer to an experience that I enjoy.
Yeah, great design. Really
Yeah.
fun. I like 2 myself. I think it's the best one I've played.
Yeah, 2 is probably my favorite one.
Anyone play 4? Because that's the one everyone always says is the best one.
I'd like to. I have it downloaded.
You haven't, Alex?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I've always meant to.
Yeah, it's a
but
lot
the
of fun.
time controls are always.
I think they're doing like
Yeah.
some kind of remake of that also. So I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna be.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
might just wait.
Yeah, I loved the remake of
played some
2
of
for
5.
sure.
Yeah.
I felt like there was a lot more tension and fear in that compared to Resident Evil 7 and 8, I guess. Just because of like the time period where the original was made, you had to conserve a lot of ammo. There was consequence towards missing a shot or getting bit or something. Like
Mr. X
you really
chasing
had to
around.
hoard and manage supplies and inventory and all that shit. So I liked that aspect about it a lot. There were a lot of great things in Resident Evil 2 remake. I'm like halfway through Resident Evil 8 right now. Enjoying it, will finish it, not striking me the same way as 7 did yet. And we'll see if that changes.
Yeah, I'm loving 8.
Did either of you play Resident Evil Blowjob Giraffe? Which is
Sorry?
6.
Oh, yeah, I played all the co-op
Did you never
ones.
see that meme? They're like the logo looks like a giraffe.
Oh, does it? Oh, I have to look this up.
Yeah, search Resident Evil 6.
No, I never played that
Blowjob
one.
Giraffe.
That's a really
Or just
shitty
Resident Evil
logo.
6
I'm just gonna look
Giraffe.
at the...
Yeah.
This 6 looks like shit.
Oh, yeah,
Look it up.
That's kind of
That's funny. I played 5. 5 is fine.
I played
didn't
about
play
half
all
of
it.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, those 5 and 6 are only tolerable with co-op. And even then, 6 was a fucking chore. Like the amount of
6
shit
looks
that it
awful,
just like.
man.
6 sounds bad.
It's like an action movie of motorbike chases and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like it's so over the top and goofy, like that's fine or whatever. But in 6, they make you like redo parts of levels, and you're confused as to whether or not you're making progress because you're like, did we do this? And it's like, oh, it's just you have to see this coming from a different angle this time, and it's like they just reuse so much shit in the game. It feels like you're never actually progressing through the story. And it's just such a fucking chore, and it takes forever to do. But I don't know. There's some funny shit, I guess.
Yeah, I've always avoided that one.
Yeah, 4 and 2 are my favorites, I guess, and I also like 7. Jesus, that blowjob giraffe thing is so weird.
It's really weird.
That's kind of funny.
I'll never forget that.
Bad design.
Terrible cover.
In general, yeah. Yeah, dumb, goofy bullshit.
Okay. Yeah, the movies are fucking garbage. I still have to
Paul
finish watching
Anderson.
all of them. Yeah, not Thomas Anderson. Paul
Yeah, the
W.
better
S.
Paul Anderson.
Yeah, better. Okay, it's a matter of
Yeah,
opinion.
they get genuinely unwatchable at a certain point. Like the action, like you just can't tell what's happening.
You just don't even know what's going on. Yeah, the second one, they're just like throwing in a bunch of characters from the games. Like, oh, it's Jill, it's Leon.
Isn't like Nemesis in it? Yeah.
Nemesis. Yeah, like the guy from the third one is in it, but it looks like shit. It's like some guy in a rubber suit.
At least
It's
the first
like
one's
normal
got like the
size.
laser room. With
Yeah, the first one's like, I think it's tolerable because it's just like a basic premise. They're kind of stuck in Umbrella Corp or whatever,
Yeah.
the Umbrella facility. That's it. It's kind of like Cube mixed with a zombie movie.
Yeah.
The third one's like Mad Max. Like, there's a point. They don't even know what the fuck's going on.
That's
The
right.
fourth one's really bad.
It's like Mad Max.
Yeah.
Sending this one from Under Arts. I know you guys see FNAF as a meme, but the movie is actually getting made this year. As a longtime fan, I'm very excited. I wonder how you guys feel about it. Hello from Sweden.
That's the Willy's Wonderland movie?
So they're making Willy's Wonderland.
It's another one.
It's the real FNAF movie though.
It's the real one
It's
now.
the real
You mean
one.
Willy's Wonderland wasn't it?
No. No, it wasn't.
Shit. I thought it was.
People said that Willy's Wonderland ripped off Five Nights at Freddy's, basically.
Yeah.
That's
And
what I said.
I made the argument that it's debatable. I wouldn't. Yeah.
So currently Chris Columbus is attached as director.
Yeah, the director of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which, I mean, I'm surprised to see that name there.
Yeah, it's
attached,
apparently like a
but-
Blumhouse thing too. Yeah,
Dude,
like
I
it's
mean,
legit a Blumhouse movie.
Well,
But it's just like, I don't know. What's it going to be rated? If it's rated R, then none of the babies who play Five Nights at Freddy's are going to be able to see it. If it's rated
Yeah.
G, then it's not going to be a scary movie.
it's rated G.
it's gonna have to be like
It'll be a
PG-13 and be really
PG-13.
lame.
It'll be
PG-13 is what you're going
They
with? I could see that happening.
Yeah.
It seems
They're gonna
about
do
right.
that. That'd be fine. You don't need blood.
The demographic of Five Nights at Freddy's has probably just hit the age 13 now. If they've been playing since
I would
the
like a
beginning,
G
they're
movie.
just
I think
at
that would be
13.
really funny if it was like Thomas the Tank Engine or like something. Yeah, I would like that a lot. But they're
Yeah,
not
that'd
gonna,
be cool.
If you're gonna make a horror movie,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right about the audience because there's like a phone version of Five Nights at Freddy's. It's like these chibi, cutesy cartoon versions, and there's like
God.
tens of them. So I mean, yeah,
There was
people
like
just
a
the
game made
cuteness
every
of it, I
6
guess.
months. It was like, that's
Yeah.
what the games are like. It's made by one person every 6 months.
Who is credited as the writer on
But people are
IMDb.
obsessed with the lore, I guess.
Yeah, the lore.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be
watch, like,
interesting.
5
He's like the
game
sole
theory
writer on
videos.
IMDb, it looks like. So weird.
Yeah, I wonder if he has like if he owns the IP for movies then still, and he has control over it, some creative control.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, if he's writing the screenplay, then theoretically he would have some control
Yeah.
over it. But yeah, I don't know. It's I never found the games to be scary, and they were just annoying and really poorly
No.
designed and manipulative. And yeah, just jump scares the game, and if you really care about it, then you get hooked on the lore, apparently. But if I don't care about the jump scares, then why would I care about the lore? You know?
Yeah.
If I don't care about the game, why would I care about
Sure.
the backstory to the game?
Apparently, Scott Cawthon, who's the writer and creator of FNAF, gave an update in November of 2020 saying writer-director Chris Columbus has finished the screenplay adaptation and plans to start filming for Blumhouse in spring of 2021. So maybe it actually will come out this year.
It's so ridiculous.
That is, yeah. They're fast-tracking it. They want this out.
I think I'll be satisfied
trend does.
in my curiosity by watching the trailer. I don't know if I'll need to watch the actual film, but we'll see what the trailer looks like.
Yeah, I think I'm with you.
It'll be one of those things where I actually watch the trailer.
And the trailer will be huge. It will use the same thumbnails like a marketing.
Oh, yeah. It'll get like 1 billion views in like a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mom,
we'll see.
they made a Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
We have to go see it.
Does the trailer start with the
Rated X.
angry hello picking up the phone thing that all the FNAF games have, whatever? Hello?
Mushy mushy. They just put Nicolas Cage in it. Who's supposed to act in this thing? Do we know who's acting in this movie?
Golden Freddy?
Dwayne Johnson.
I don't know if any actors are attached.
Yeah, I guess if it's Blumhouse.
Well, it's
then-
just Chris Columbus. Maybe the cast of Harry Potter. I don't know.
That'd be pretty
Daniel
cool.
Radcliffe.
Yeah. The fuck? It's so fascinating. And it's supposed to come out 2021, apparently?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's supposed to
I
come
don't
out
know.
this year. They don't have anything. I don't know.
I mean,
I mean, I hope it comes
they
out.
could release
I'm
it. They could drop a trailer in the next like couple months and then be out ready for Halloween, October or whatever.
This is Blumhouse. You could
Yeah.
have just a bunch of nobodies in it.
Yeah, it'll be in the next Happy Death Day.
Yeah. You probably can make a FNAF movie pretty cheap.
I guess it'll be live action.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, all the video game movies, man. The
stupidity.
wave of them's coming. Uncharted's
Yeah,
coming soon.
yeah.
Tom Holland's talking about how
I saw a
shit it is
picture.
already.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did he say?
They look nothing like Sully and it's just Mark Wahlberg
Yeah.
and Tom Holland.
He was saying something about he was like channeling. Oh, what was it? He was saying he was like channeling something that sounded the total opposite of the character of Nathan Drake.
Oh, great.
Like. It sounds like a total mess, to be honest. And I keep forgetting Mark Wahlberg's in that movie playing Sully.
Yeah, how long has this been in development for?
That's a pretty bad choice.
Quite a while, right?
Director of Venom.
Forever.
I think, dude, it's gonna be.
It's gonna be like Chaos Walking.
Yeah,
It's gonna be abysmal.
I'll watch this one just to be disappointed.
I mean, yeah, I never had any hope with this one. I mean,
Yeah.
terrible idea.
Yeah. It's a bad idea.
Well, I guess that does it for questions.
Woohoo.
We did it.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Bum, 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 bum. I'm going to nap. But first,
Yeah, cool.
we have a film recommendation for next episode, and I think it's Alex's turn.
Yeah, it's back to me now because I guess Shrek was shared.
Yes, it was the trio recommendation.
I want to do the 1997 film Cure. Have you guys heard of this one?
I've heard of it.
Kiyoshi
No.
Kurosawa. I was reading. I think it was one of the major inspirations of David Fincher's Seven.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, this is on my watch list already.
Yeah,
is
it's
it?
been on my watch list for a while.
CURE, 1997.
Kiyoshi Kurosawa. A wave of gruesome murders is
I
sweeping
see.
Tokyo.
Oh,
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, should be cool.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Looking forward to seeing it.
Okay.
Any of you listening at home, if you don't want to be spoiled for Cure, then check it out before the next episode comes out. These episodes are released every 2 weeks, except I guess the one you listen to after this will be released 1 week later because we kind of messed up the schedule a bit. But if you want to listen to the episode even earlier, as they're edited, sign up. Sardonicast.com. Sign up for premium. $2 a month. You'll get these episodes early.
You
Also,
heard that.
patreon.com/Sardonicast. My brain is mush. I got food poisoning on the weekend. That was not fun. So
You
I'm
did
gonna
it.
I'm gonna take a nap. I'm getting better. No more fever, but oh boy, I'm looking forward to seeing the movie. Thanks for the recommendation. Have a happy
same.
Shrek.
Have a Shrek Forever After.
I had these weird, like, because I was woken up, like, I don't know, 10 times last night with just, like, my stomach feeling like shit. And I kept going in and out of my sleep, and I had this, like, these weird moments where your plans for the next day intercept your dreams. And I was dreaming that I was, like, recording the podcast. And I remembered I opened it up being like, oh, this Shrek-tastic episode. But in my mind, like, the pun worked so well. And then I thought about it when I woke up. I'm like, Shrek-tastic doesn't make sense. That's not a good. That doesn't work. So I didn't.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you might be underplaying it.
Have a Shrek-tastic day, everyone.
Happy.
Yeah, keep it Shrek-tastic over there.
Happy Shrek. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Shrek.